Hello, everybody. Welcome to 372 Pages We'll Never Get Back. This is Connor Listoka, and we are entering the cozy season with our 22nd book here. We've re-entered the Cozyverse, and just in time for Thanksgiving and Christmas, we are doing a thematic cozy mystery. Murder in Christmas River? I kept calling it the Christmas River Murders, but it is Murder in Christmas River. It is a Christmas cozy mystery just in time for the most festive and cozy of seasons. So, Mike, I wanted to kick us off with a little cozy check here.
Well,
post your rig. What do you got here? I've got a cup of orange spice Bigelow tea. I'm wearing a sweater. It's not cable knit, but I feel like I'm at, I don't know. I do have Christmas lights outside, though. We turned those on a couple days ago, so they're
twinkle lights.
No, just white, the tasteful. Lauren's all about the tasteful lights. Oh, we do have a Christmas corgi that's lit up outside. We have it's a Target decoration. It's a light up corgi that we've kept outside all year, but it recently got a partner because the lights burnt out. Instead of sending us a $2 string of lights, they sent us a whole new corgi. So I'm at like a 4 out of 10, I'd say.
Wow. There is something wrong with you with the corgi thing. But my coziness, I have to say before I start this cozy story that this is 100% true. May God strike me dead. I'm not making this up.
Oh, boy.
I woke up to a thick blanket of freshly fallen snow.
Oh, wow.
Here in Minnesota.
Well, I'm one-upped already.
Snowed all day yesterday, so the pines outside my window are coated with a thick blanket of... It looks like icing to me. It really does. And
that's just your inner baker speaking, I guess.
Yes. So I'm checking out. I'm getting the podcast room ready. I'm thinking, wow, how cozy. I go upstairs. My wife, who has been sick, is downstairs in our kitchen looking out over the freshly fallen blanket of snow. She is wearing a flannel robe,
okay,
a colorful knit cap. She is eating a piece of sourdough bread that I had made that just came out of the oven. And she is drinking, I also roast my own coffee, so she's drinking an espresso from our hand-pressed espresso thing. And I just about, like, if I had been drinking, I would spit out, what? You're the coziest thing I've ever seen in my life. So, by proxy, because she is my wife, I believe my coziness is at a full 10.
Wow.
I don't know what else we could, I guess.
Well, clearly yogurt off the back of a spoon or something.
Well, yes. There was no dog curled up next to her. Although the fireplace was on, so she did have, but that's in the other room.
Wow.
So I don't know if I can count that.
Well, if she had turned around to you and just been like, it was revealed suddenly that she was like, "Oh, who are you?" And she had amnesia, and this was your you have to win her back type of situation as the movie starts.
That's right, it's me. I'm back in town. Oh, goodness. So anyway, that was just a coincidence of coziness that is just off the charts.
Wow. Well,
thick socks as well, of course.
Okay, but was Mariah Carey playing? So I mean,
what was on was I just had like Bach concerti in the background. So I don't know if that counts as cozy.
Okay, no, I'm gonna
probably need some Julio Iglesias or something. I don't know who's cozy.
going up to 10 here without like a Christmas tree up.
Well, no, there's no Christmas, but outside our window are Christmas trees with freshly fallen snow on them. Come on.
All right.
Can you grant me an 8?
Sure, I'll do that. I just say when you claim 10 off the bat, there's room to grow. People are going to try to start sending us stuff to ratchet up the cozy and stuff. So I just
that's fair. That's fair. I shouldn't have gone to 10. I'll take a solid. If you'll grant me the 8, I'll take it as the win.
When you said you had a cozy, when you said you had some cozy material, I couldn't decide whether it was going to be actual stuff or if you were going to be like, and so the buzzards found a wild turkey carcass outside and they're actively picking it right now as my neighbor's construction project enters the jackhammer phase.
It would have been nice if, the turkeys who regularly go past my window, which sometimes fight in front of me, that would be a good one, too. A turkey just killed another turkey in front of me. How's that on the cozy scale?
I mean, it's kind of in line with the with Murder in Christmas River, I'd say.
Certainly is.
Much closer to that than to Bridget's experience this morning.
Yep, a coppery smell filled the air in my lawn, yes.
Right. The drunk who passed out in a snowbank outside your house, they had to amputate 3 of his fingers.
Right.
Well, that's a little tease for everybody, because Murder in Christmas River, we've as cozy tradition, it's a shorter book, so we're going to read it in 3 parts. We've covered the first 1/3 of it, 13 chapters in this episode, and man, it's we're gonna the inevitable comparisons to the Quilters Push Back in terms of cozy are going to be abundant, I'd say. And off the top of my head, I've got to say that so far the Quilters, even though this is a Christmas book, is the Quilters is coming out ahead
in terms of the coziness, or
in terms of everything, really. In terms of coziness, they've got home cooked meals and quilting and
cats,
camaraderie, cats, hot sex. So that's
right.
Jeopardy, and this is just so far. Even though she's doing a lot of baking, it's just something about the cozy vibe is off.
I thought she was. She was just not straying far from the cliches. Is what?
That's true.
This is exactly what I thought it would be. Her name is Cinnamon.
Her name is Cinnamon, and she lives in Christmas River, the town where it's Christmas all year long. But there's also, we'll get to it. There's some things that you would, if you were editing the Hallmark movie, you'd be like, well, let's strip out, just off the top of my head, let's cut out the meth head encampments in town. I think that you could just, as a starting point. We'll get to all the other stuff that happens here.
Yeah, let's go through it.
Well, it begins with a prologue. It is I believe it's the first ever dog point of view we've ever had in one of these books we've covered.
It's exactly what I said. I got to give it points. I don't think we've had a dog POV. We've had the floor POV.
Yep.
We've had the seal in the same book. Wasn't he like a half man, half seal or something?
Oh, yeah, there was.
And he had a POV of him kind of going into the water. And...
Sure. We've had a sea lion also in the last book we covered.
Yeah. So,
speaking of the last book we covered, a lot of people have sort of written in and said, I don't know, you guys might have your work cut out for you with this one. This is not, I don't think this is a bad book. And I think that there's just been, it's a little bit of, is it like Stockholm syndrome, or just the, or maybe it's just like those meth heads when they start, cutting the stuff, or when you get you constantly need purer stuff if you've dug yourself into a hole of addiction. Yes. And I think with Super Constitution, after that, you're going to come out of there being like, man, this Christmas River book isn't doing it for me anymore. And it is right. It is purely just because of the floor we established with the incoherent rantings of Charles Kim.
Yeah, this is quite, I will grant everyone the lurch in tone is quite extreme. So that is certainly duly noted. We go from a manifesto to, a Hallmark script made into a book. That is a lurch. I'll grant you that. But settle in, man. Grab that pomegranate tea and just let's get into this.
I will, because the dog has noted. The dog is in the middle of a dispute, I suppose. There's a woman and its master is a man, and they're sort of yelling at each other.
Yes.
But the dog is making some observations. He says this was an odd place they were in. The dog had been here before, but each time it felt new and strange. The ground was cold against his paws, and white pieces of cold fell from the sky sometimes, getting in his eyes and making his fur damp and heavy. So that's an interesting turn of phrase. But then, mere sentences later, it says, his master raised his voice, his thunderous sound echoing against the trees in the woods. The dog dug his claws into the snow. God!
He's learning quickly.
Yeah. You know the word. Use it.
But this, I got to grant the dog, the observations that this dog is able to make, quite extraordinary. The one of them recognizes the sound of steel going into flesh. This dog has been around.
Yeah. He's got some...
That's a smell that this dog immediately goes, oh, I've heard that one. Yep, that's steel going into flesh.
1,000-yard stare.
Next sentence should be, the knife,
Right, yes.
The dog learns quickly.
And so the steel going into flesh is the flesh of the dog's master, the man, right? And
Yes.
But the dog is also currently mauling the woman who's attacking his master. So it's it's sort of the roles have been reversed. I assumed that the man was going to be attacking this woman who was going to her car, but I guess she's doing the stabbing, and even though she's got a big dog bite, she is now on the lam, having killed this man.
Yeah, she stabbed him with her steely knife, but she did not kill the beast. Thank you. But yes, he also recognizes the dog didn't have to go back into the woods to know his owner was dead.
Okay.
So dogs are, know that, but he did go back anyway. So I think that was a sign of honor to the master.
Yeah. And he stood over the body as white flakes fell from the sky and clung to his owner's lifeless body. He watched as it accumulated. He barked, but his cries were muffled and carried away by the sharp winds. No one else came. The dog was alone. I don't want a lot for Christmas. There is just one thing I need. So the cozy vibe is well established as the dog sort of stands over. All it's missing is the camera above him as he turns his head to the sky and begins to howl.
That George Michael video, Last Christmas, should have been just, the dog, somebody getting stabbed and the dog standing for the life, instead of the cabin and the cozy skiing and all of that.
I think there's a lot of places in this book where if we had the drops, if we had the morning DJ drop machine, we could just cue up the Christmas carols right as they're triggered by this. By the way, comment 6 on Mariah Carey's "I Don't Want a Lot for Christmas" is a dead sister in 2021.
Oh my God.
But the top comment was a guy saying, very few songs can be this old, yet still this popular every year. So a firm settle down to that man who's it's only 30 years old.
Doesn't she, famously, she owns all of her music? She's one of those people who had the foresight to own it all, however that works. I don't know what machinations go into that. But so she's like just a trillionaire from that. Yeah, makes a fresh $17 million every Christmas or something.
Well done, though.
Wow. All right, so that's the prologue, a dog standing alone.
Yes. Chapter 1 kicks off, and I was just wondering, if you have it in front of you, do you have the whole text?
I do.
I wonder if you can read the first 3 lines of the book as Andy Rooney.
I certainly can. I'm not sentimental. I'm not sappy or soft or gooey. In the spring, when Girl Scouts come to my business looking to sell me some overpriced Thin Mints, I send them packing. In the fall, when all the ladies of Christmas River start planning the annual Christmas parade, I can be found back at my pie shop, working hard on getting the seasonal Christmas pie just right.
Very nice.
Thank you.
Very nice. Yeah, just struck me that way, so... You can think of that whenever we hear our heroine narrate.
Yeah, that didn't come to me. Although I did laugh out loud that the woman named Cinnamon, owner of the pie shop in Christmas River, begins the book by saying, "I'm not sentimental."
Yeah.
All right. That's obviously that's a flex. That's a pretty bold thing.
Right. I think it's the traditional Hallmark. You're the expert on Hallmark movies, right? But it's the woman who has to find the joy in these things because she's hardened by her life of working her high-powered job or something like that.
Yes. It's always a high-powered job, something coming up. We're sending you to,
Christmas River.
Fudge Valley. And there, of course, she meets the hardened guy with a pickup truck and a vest.
I also like that the next line of that is that, that or I can be found drinking down at the Pine Needle Tavern with 2 old-timers, which is like, I didn't want to like her this much already.
But she then claims that, so the dog is the only thing she's sentimental about. And she says, something about him has turned me into a big bowl of hot pie filling, oozing and bubbling over the sides of the pan, all melted and gooey and sweet. And And when I think of bubbling, oozing pie filling, there's something searingly hot and dangerous.
Yeah.
That would strip the skin from your tongue and give you third-degree burns.
Yeah,
it doesn't strike me as cozy.
Yeah, it sounds like the dog has maybe passed her a parasite or something. That's
right.
She's running a huge fever.
Well, she's got some issues coming up. We'll get into that.
But yeah, the dog has shown up at her pie shop, and she's been feeding it pie leftovers from whatever she has at the end of the day. It's slopping away noisily at the almost empty pie tin. And I said my initial reaction that this is going to provoke a neighboring cozy mystery series, which is like the cozy mystery of the diarrhea on the stoop of the antique store next to the Christmas River pie shop. But a lot of people wondered about that. And so we got, I think, 3 separate emails about whether you should feed dogs pie, and the answer is almost a resounding no. We got emails from Gordon and from Edmund and from Kate, and Edmund's brother is a vet. He said, if Cinnamon is feeding Huckleberry scraps from a pie shop, it's fair to conclude he's mostly eating pie crust. It should generally not be fed to dogs, as the high fat or shortening content can cause diarrhea and vomiting. And if there's any raisins or sultanas, I don't know what that is, in the baked good, which is possible given the Christmas theme of the whole town, it's worth pointing out they can cause kidney failure and death.
Wow. Okay. Well, this is our first strong medical warning.
Right.
From a veterinarian in our series. Sultanas, as I understand, is just the British word for raisins, right? Or the European word?
Wow.
So, but speaking of fruit that we didn't know existed, that I didn't know existed, Marionberry?
Yeah, I learned about that. I think it's a regional thing. My sister-in-law, who used to live in Oregon and does again now, mentioned them a couple years ago, and I again thought it was a joke, because
because of Marionberry.
Yes,
the D.C. mayor, right? D.C., right?
Yes, former multiple-time mayor of Washington, D.C., whose tenure was interrupted. I think he must have lost the office and gone to prison for the videotaped smoking crack on camera with a woman who was not his wife in a cheap motel.
Yes,
and
Marionberry,
who then, when the cops bursted in, he issued one of the coziest sentiments that's ever been recorded on camera, which was "Bitch, set me up," and then was reelected a couple years later. So that's a primary association that I have with Marionberry.
Which, when looking him up, just to check my facts. Again, this is a quote from the late Mayor for Life. Was that what they called him?
I mean, that was sort of the, what D.C. residents would call him, I think.
Yeah. One of his quotes, when he was apologizing for offending the Asian community, he several times used the word Polak. So
okay.
I don't know how he got there. Anyway, that's my impression of Marionberry. And here... She wants to call the dog Marionberry, but she says it should have been Marionberry, but that sounded too much like a girl's name. So is she in the Cozyverse? Marionberry, the mayor of D.C., doesn't exist apparently.
That's very true. I suppose if you're taking out things, you taking out that mayor with the sordid past is the first thing you'd strike.
So when he was sitting down to read a cozy mystery and he reads this, he's like, all right, here we go.
Knowing nod.
Yes. Yeah. And then all of a sudden, sounds like a girl's name. What? It sounds like my name. How dare you? Whips it across the room and spills his tea.
Yes, his tea. Second bitch. But yeah, so Huckleberry is what she calls this dog who's shown up on her thing. We don't know what the dog's real name is, but I suppose that's either Huckleberry Finn or Huckleberry Hound, who were both men. So I guess that's it does imply that she's
both
done some...
men, Huckleberry Hound.
Sure, well, right, But it does imply she's done some inspection of the stray dog. I'm not sure when you get around to that with the stray dog showing up at your doorstep. I don't think I would do it very quickly. Check the goods there, but. That was our heroine's first priority, I guess.
Well, I don't know. Is there something about? No, I'm not going to get a male versus female diarrhea. Never mind. Sorry.
Can you? Yeah, we don't need to get into it, but
Sorry. This is my. I had mentioned earlier, hinted at her problems. She should see a specialist about this. My body would go numb, and it was like I'd get caught in a thick fog for a while. I never had the chills up until 2 years ago. She says these chills hit her like all the time, even when it's warm and whatever. Like we've had other. Who was the other character who had a? Was that in the vampire one or something? She had.
Oh, it was always cold.
Yeah, she had issues as well.
Yes,
but this seems like something you should see someone about.
Yeah, tingling. Numbness.
Body going numb. So do you just like drop like your bones are gone or whatever? Like how does that work? And caught in a thick fog for a while.
Yes, you come out of it. You've baked 8 huckleberry pies.
Right.
It could be a Pacific Northwest thing if that's what was happening to Bella Swan.
Oh yeah, that's right. Yeah. Oh, that's it. It's in the air, I guess.
But she's discovered the dog. She's put in the calls. They haven't found her, but she's feeding the dog the pie scraps, and she says that we're each in our own darkness, and I didn't feel warm again until the next morning. And so that's another, hit the drop on Bing Crosby or something to end the chapter.
Darkness dementia.
Yeah, really. That's another, I guess she was a sort of Bella Swan analog, but
yeah,
she does have that My Immortal vibe about her.
Mm-hmm.
Well, chapter 2 just sort of gets into the specifics of the town where all these books are set. It's a whole series, Christmas River. The town's motto is Christmas River, where the Christmas spirit never dies. And yeah, I guess the town's population is 5,030, so that's an important thing to sort of keep in mind, I guess, as we're going forward. I had to do some looking into that, because that's it's a small town, but I looked up like the population of Montpelier, the capital of Vermont.
Yeah.
And that's like 8,000 and change. And, that's a small town. It also has people, outskirts of it and stuff like that. But the downtown area is small. So this is, half the size of that. So it's an important baseline, I think, for what we're going to hear about here.
Yeah. As we start to meet characters and occupations, that'll just keep that number in mind.
Right. Because the first question everyone would ask is, how does the pie shop have business here as a town of 5,000? Because how many people could be needing pies that often? But they sort of quickly hand wave that away because it has the bustling tourism industry. But I wondered about this. So it's called Christmas River. It says the town died a long time ago. The real town, at least. The town was named after the crystal clean river it was built around. I just was curious, like what I guess it's called the Christmas River, but reading it out loud now, I was like, there's no connection between crystal clean and Christmas other than this, like Chris has the beginning of the sentence there, but I guess it was just named the Christmas River without it being tied into anything at all.
Yeah, it's a big problem in Minnesota, especially, where the land of 10,000 lakes is the motto, right? Mm-hmm. And I think it's many more lakes than that. That's just a thing they've set, like 10,000 good lakes or something like that. But people are not very original. There's like probably 300 or more bass lakes.
Wow.
Which is, you're obviously not trying. Just every fish name is taken multiple times.
Sure.
But the one that really gets me is there's a ton of round lakes. Like, you really did not make any effort at all. And there's also a ton of crooked lakes. So, I don't know. People are just like, I guess there's just a lot of fights around them, maybe. Like, I want to name the lake after my grandfather. Like, no. So they just settle on the worst name possible. It must have been a lot of committees or something.
Right. They get Boring Solomon to assign the lake names.
And then, Quint comes in and puts his fingers on the chalkboard and goes, "We're calling it Christmas River."
Yes.
All right. Duly noted, Mr. Quint.
Yes. You can go back to drinking with the pie baker at the local tavern.
Yes. So, yeah, that is unusual, but it doesn't say why. Doesn't give any indication of anything Christmas. Just, it was crystal clean, therefore Christmas River.
I mean, it's Oregon, so there's a chance that this is, the wagon train of pioneers, they starved to death on Christmas Day or something was when it happened. This was the river where they found the bodies or something, and it has that sordid past to it. But it says that her hometown has become a novelty, a place of forced smiles and customer satisfaction, of little old ladies dressing up as Mrs. Claus and trying to sell you something. So it does have that sort of, there's that town in California, Solvang, like that has the Denmark vibe. So it's that just, and I'm sure that most Hallmark movies, are set in some place like this as well.
There's the one that was east of San Diego where we both used to live that did have pies.
Yeah, Julian.
Julian, famous for its pies.
Yes.
We went there once, and coming from the Midwest where everything is, cozy AF, it was very disappointing to my children, seeing just like, this is just a crappy town, and people put pies on windows and for $25.
Yeah, Blink 182 is playing over the town's PA system, and there's like a kid with a skateboard trying to sell me a pie.
That was a weird place. But so we learn about the town, and then we learn secondhand about this gem of a guy. We don't know his name yet. I hope it's like Cardamom or something, but her grandfather.
Oh, yeah.
Who sounds like a real dream. He's just like, he spends his days just spouting off about how the town used to be great, and now there's a bunch of just spoiled idiots being served pie by stupid fat idiots. It's just, he sounds like a dream, and I was really excited to meet this guy. We do in this reading, but yes. For now I was just like, all right, just a misanthropic guy who hates his town, hates the people in it.
Right, but and he's longing for the days of the old lumber mill days when the town, smelled like wood pulp, and this mill workers were getting their fingers cut off, and just smoke filling the air. I think that maybe some people might prefer the jingle jangle of the sleigh bells in the streets to that.
Yeah, people were getting sawdust lung and dying when they were 45, and right. Not giving their widows any. I got nothing because I'm dying, honey. Now people are just selling pie and buying McMansions. I don't know, it might be better.
He spits every time he passes the pie shop. But she introduces the sort of plot device for this whole thing, which is that there's the Christmas River Gingerbread Junction competition, and the winner is crowned the Junction Queen and receives a 4-day trip to Maui. So it's a real, that's a legitimate prize here. It's not just a $50 gift certificate to the pie shop or something like that. So it's a really coveted thing, and she's entered it. I think 10 straight years. She's 33. She entered it when she was 23 when she came back to town. And she's won or come in second most of the time, except for 2 years ago, where she keeps hinting at something happening 2 years ago, and says, so this is what she says, I won 5 competitions altogether and come in second place most of the other times, except for 2 years ago when I bombed out of the competition completely. It ended in a week-long depression-driven pie binge where each night I'd go home, drink glass after glass of white wine, and eat leftover pie and sob while watching late-night soul music infomercials.
There's a lot going on in this.
Yeah, it sounds like an amazing part of her life. I'm pretty sure when we looked at which book to pick, there was one that was sort of a prequel, so maybe one of the books covers this, and maybe we should have read that one. Damn it.
One of my first questions about it, starting from back to front, is how do you watch late night soul music info? Is there a channel for that?
Yes.
I mean, they would come on occasionally, right? So, but I guess maybe that was a very, very long time. And so she would hit the mute switch until the late night soul music infomercial came back around. So, 24 hours later, after 17 bottles of wine and 14 pies.
Yeah. Or just a hallucination, perhaps.
That could be. Yeah.
She's determined to win it again this year. And her best friend who's going to help her in this endeavor is named Kara, who's I guess another Hallmark trope is the sassy best friend.
Yeah, this does not stray at all from, I was trying to think of who the actress who plays this, but, think of any cozy movie or rom-com, and each has a second. Sometimes the loser dude has 2 guys who are both scummier than him.
Nice.
They're like losers who barely get by. They don't work or something.
Yeah, and the James Wynn trope, the best friend who's like, so how'd the date go last night? Did you get a little
you should get yourself a hot Ferrari. Yeah, so there's but the second for the woman is always just, slightly less attractive is what they're trying to convey. I'm not making that judgment myself. I think that's what they're trying to do.
Right.
But is also, just a support,
boozy,
a little more
kinda,
together.
like
Could be a little boozy, could be a little flirty, if you know what I mean.
Because Caruso's like, I can't believe myself either sometimes. There ought to be a law against me. And it says this is another curious simile. She says, she's been my best friend since high school. She was a platinum blonde who, true to her hair color, had a lot of spark and tenacity. It doesn't really scan,
but then it goes on. So that sounds good. All right, so far that's fine as far as it goes. She was loud and abrasive and acted like a bull in a china shop sometimes. So I think of that. There's a Toby Keith song where he describes a woman who has a barbed wire tat and smokes Marlboro Reds and spits in the fire and drinks and then clucks like a chicken. And then it's supposed to be like, man, she's hot. Like, oh, God. This is not working for me. I don't know what you're trying to convey.
Yeah, really. Bull in the china shop is you just imply that means being like, thrown out of a bar while she's saying like, lick me, all of you.
I'm coming back for you, and I'm going to take a dump on your porch.
Kara, please.
Kara.
Think of your ornate ornament shop.
She was a treasure.
But yeah, she runs an ornament shop that's doing well. You have to imagine it's one of, a dozen in this town or something. But she is a smart businesswoman and takes care of all that. And also, as you said before, it says since her divorce, Kara had been going through what seemed like hundreds of dates. She must have dated just about every eligible bachelor in Christmas River and the surrounding towns. So she's just, coming out, doing the walk of shame every morning. And, just sounds awesome. Probably heading home to watch the early morning version of late night soul music infomercials.
Well, I wondered in a cozy mystery, maybe, aficionados of the genre can tell us, does dating mean dating in Christmas River? Maybe it just
watching
does.
Jeopardy. Yeah.
Maybe it's just the snugglies and the double snugglies and drinking cocoa. Maybe it is. I don't know.
Instead, you have a chaste kiss on the cheek and then say like, maybe I'll call you again sometime. Yeah, I'd like that. Maybe
we could go uptown, have a bottle of pop. That sounds nice.
But so she's going to work on the gingerbread house together. They're a pair, so I guess it might be a trip to Maui for two when they win that.
Mm-hmm.
But she's... what are they doing? They're planning that she's going to be stressed about the whole thing, I guess.
Yeah. Well, they're gluing the walls together as we speak. But Kara's talking about her failed date.
Oh, okay.
With Craig Canby.
Sure.
And I noted the name because I'm like, all right, come on, start adding names.
That's right. Yeah, we got to get the character count up.
But he spills coffee on himself, so she's done with him, I guess.
Oh, right. Yeah.
Yeah.
I guess it was just a failed meet cute type of thing. In a sliding doors moment, that might be the start of the whole relationship.
Yeah, and so what it introduces, I think the whole point of their little aside here is Kara teasing her about her sort of flirtation with Dr. John.
Oh, sure.
Not the singer Dr. John, Dr. John, whatever. We get his name here in a minute.
Dr. John Billings.
Yes. So it's like, look, he's okay, but I'm not into him.
Yeah, he says he's started coming into her shop about a year ago. Soon he was there every afternoon at exactly noon, and every day he'd order a slice of the strawberry rhubarb pie, but he'd never finish the slice. So, it sounds unwell at a minimum and, close to what you would generously describe as a stalker from the other point.
Yeah. Yeah, and I also thought about him and his nutrition because she pointedly says, and it comes up again later, that he does not like the pie and he doesn't eat it. Mm-hmm. So he's coming in just to, stalk her.
Talk to her, yeah.
But I thought about his nutrition, so Is he going to the local bodega and just getting those like frozen bean burritos and secretly microwaving them in his... Because it's a long day when you're in a doctor's office in a town of 5,030 people.
Right. If this is his only lunch,
yeah,
and he's eating it at the shop. So it's also unclear what the shop is like because, as described, there is a counter for people to order it, but she also serves coffee at some point in time. But for the most part, it's just a place where you go to buy the pies. But I guess it's also a mini diner type of thing that only serves pie.
That only serves pie, which
for lunch.
So for the lunch crowd is coming in going, do you have any? Is there like just a really bad turkey sandwich or something I could eat? Nope, pie.
Yeah.
Oh, God. I chose the wrong cafe.
Day after day, I chose the wrong cafe.
Yes.
But this is my favorite detail so far is that the doctor, she says he wasn't a bad sort. He was in his early 40s and had once been married a long time ago, but was now divorced. He moved to Christmas River about 5 years ago from Boise to start up his own podiatrist practice. Mm-hmm. He was smart and good looking by most standards and did a lot of pro bono work in the community. So he's moved to the town of 5,000 to start a podiatrist practice, and he does most of it pro bono. So I think the small town pro bono podiatrist is one of my favorite invented characters that we've ever covered on the podcast.
Who, we might add, goes to a pie shop to stare at a woman and not eat pie. This is a very odd podiatrist. His wife, his ex-wife reading the book is like, yeah, fine, you have him. Yeah. Weirdo, isn't he?
Yeah.
Didn't bring home any money.
Yeah. He found another pie shop to do that at that's not in Boise. Oh, my God.
Oh, God. Stay away from him.
Yeah. Has he made you step into the pies yet? Well, that's coming, baby. Like, he likes you to squish it between your toes. And I almost went down the rabbit hole of the what if Dr. John, the singer, was a podiatrist?
Okay.
But then I started watching interviews with Dr. John, and his accent wasn't as pronounced as I thought it was. I was sort of disappointed.
I pictured mumbling Cajun.
Yeah. You got them boils. You got to file out them corns, baby. That's where it's at.
Dr. John as a podiatrist,
yes,
ladies and gentlemen. I think it would go a little something like this.
Oh, yeah. So she describes it as it felt like I was leading him on. He just sat there ordering slice after slice of pie he didn't even like while I took his money and made it seem like he had a chance with me. And you could easily describe, the sad man's interaction with the local lunch shift stripper that way. Just I think I've got a real chance with her. She really seems to like me.
It's exactly that. But then, as I said, I was losing hope that there wouldn't be enough characters, and then suddenly Kara brings the thunder.
Yeah.
She says, "I guess we're not as young as we used to be," Kara said, echoing my own thoughts. "No more Billy Sanders or Kevin Rhines or Daniel Brightmans to serenade us these days." Yes.
Yeah.
I mean, it should be longer, but pretty good.
Right. Yeah. I guess it's sort of setting up the rogues gallery potentially. And I think throughout the rest of the 12 chapters or 11 we have left, Daniel Brightman reappears in a big way, but the other two have not so far.
Billy Sanders is mentioned later. Just
okay, great.
Spoiler alert.
Yeah, so like these are most of the guys in these become, like small town cops type of thing. They stick around or something like that. That's another Hallmark staple.
Sure.
But we do get another one very quickly. She says they have a rival in the pie competition, Gretchen O'Malley. They're not even a rival; they're arch nemesis, a retired nasty woman who is the reigning queen of the competition.
Yes,
I'm not sure nasty fox, nasty woman, which is nastier, but they really hate this woman. I couldn't prove it, but I was pretty sure that when she wasn't scaring children or collecting toadstools and dead ravens for a potion, she spent all her time in a kitchen working on her gingerbread house. So she can't prove that she usually spends all her time working on the gingerbread house. That's just what she suspects when she's not collecting toadstools.
I'm just asking the questions, people. I don't know. Is she a witch? We'll never know. But that line got me thinking, like, so far, her town, it sounds pretty horrible.
Sure.
I mean, there's bright spots, but the grandfather says it's, the bunch of money grubbers selling crap to idiot tourists, dumb guys spilling coffee on themselves, boring podiatrists, and nasty old retired women.
Yes.
So it just doesn't sound very cozy. And her with her fainting spells and numbness and chills.
Yeah.
Falling down at any moment and drinking wine and passing out while watching infomercials. Like, yeah, I mean...
Dogs slopping up pie scraps. Stray dogs, sorry. Yeah, it has not set the cozy well. I mean, all the trappings are there, but it's sort of a Potemkin cozy village, I'd say, at this point in time.
That's true. All right, we're on to chapter 3, right?
Yeah, the chapters are sort of down brown.
Yeah, they're very short.
They start ending with cliffhangers once we get into some drama, but she passes Gretchen O'Malley and her husband on the street. Her husband is a stout, unnamed bald man who would yell things to the judges when they were taking notes on her gingerbread houses. And she says, I don't know the in and outs of their relationships, but I got the feeling Gretchen was the one who wore the pants in their relationship. I hope she means that in a wildly kinky way, but...
But she says her nose was high in the air. I swear the woman would drown if a rainstorm hit, which is, I think a slight from the 1930s. But
yes.
I'm like, who is she describing? Like Margaret Dumont,
yes.
from the...
Yes.
Ooh, Professor Firefly.
Or just, who's the other? Margaret Hamilton? Is that the Wicked Witch?
Yes.
Yeah, it could be that.
Margaret Hamilton.
A cross between the two Margarets of the 30s.
Yes. Just an odd thing to make. I don't think anyone's ever said that insult in, since the 30s.
Sure. But she says, Gretchen didn't have to say hi to me. She'd hear me loud and clear soon enough. She wouldn't be able to ignore me then. So it's just a real vibe of like, I'll show them all.
So she goes to the bar.
Yes.
To the tavern. The Pine whatever. She says it at the beginning. I can't remember what it is. She goes there and she sees... So that's when we learn her grandfather's name is Warren.
Yep.
Which she doesn't say. She just says... She just all of a sudden says it. Yeah. And I find out how much Warren was drinking.
He'd been drinking more lately, which is another nice cozy touch.
So he meets his drunken friends and everything, but then there's like a touch of like Aragorn at the Prancing Pony.
Uh-huh.
As we walked away, I noticed a man sitting at a table in the corner. He was maybe in his 30s, and he had a thick, dark beard. A cowboy hat sat on the table next to the double shot of whiskey he was holding. He was staring at the shot glass like he had a lot on his mind. Like, what? This suddenly became like a Western or something?
Yeah, it's kind of cool.
Yeah.
Well, I thought they were growing the suspect list, as you've got the nasty woman and Dr. John and now this cowboy guy. But, I mean, for all we know, he's just upset that, he's like, should I have bought the ornament that said have a perfect Christmas instead of this one that says, bark, it's Christmas and has a dog on it. God, which one will my grandmother like more? He's just agonized about that at this late hour.
I bought the faux distressed bake, laugh, love one, but I really... I don't know now. Second thoughts. Give me a double.
God, scrolling Etsy on his phone to see what the refund policy is.
It should have been in gingham.
But it's also very funny to me. I mean, so yeah, her grandfather's like boozing it up more than he should, and he's got his booze hound friends. But it's this town, the Pine Needle Tavern, didn't get many tourists anyway. It had local written all over its aging paneled walls and sticky floors. So in the middle of all these, bright lit up Thomas Kincaid, painter of light towns, there's just like a Moe's Tavern sitting in the middle of it that oh, I wouldn't go in there. Like, yeah, some guy got stabbed in the bathroom last night. Like,
every few hours the door opens and someone just gets chucked out the front.
Yes.
Like, oh, you almost hit my gingerbread house. Careful.
What'd that guy do? Oh, a guy punched him, so we had to throw him out. The guy who got punched, by the way, not the puncher.
This tavern reminded me of there's a place, my brother-in-law has a cabin up north, very cozy, and there's a bar much like this that he'll sometimes go, we should drive into this little town and go to this bar. It's kind of fun some night. We went in and they were having a raffle.
Meat raffle?
A meat raffle, and there was a grand prize of like an expensive rifle. So the place is packed with
Wow.
all the locals. We go in and take a table. We win a lot of meat, and my brother-in-law wins the rifle.
Oh, interlopers.
And we were like, oh, my God.
Start the car.
The danger was palpable. We like, all right, he's like, look, I'm going to go up and pay. Just, go out one by one.
You look down, you're wearing your like Harvard crew sweatshirt. Like, where did I even get this? With thick
Top of the
horn
day,
rimmed glasses.
gentlemen.
Yes.
What can you say? Sometimes you win and sometimes you lose. My boat shoes. Why are you wearing boat shoes? It's the deep of winter.
Yes, and a propeller beanie. That doesn't even fit.
Yeah, it was grim.
Well, so this guy, fits in, the cowboy Aragorn fits in about as well as anyone else would in this town of Christmas cheer.
Yes.
That's that chapter. We sort of got introduced to the bar. In chapter 4, she's driving her grandfather home every night, and it's pretty late. It's like midnight or something when she's taking him home. But she props him up in front of the TV where he's watching Where Eagles Dare, one of his favorite movies.
It's a great movie.
He just loves the Nazi characters.
Oh dear. That's Richard Burton, I believe.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
But so that's maybe an implication that he's a vet or something like that. You never know. But he's raised her since the age of 13. And after her mother died, she says, a lot could have gone different for me. I was on the brink of going down a bad path, but he, sort of righted her and I guess was the father figure. I'm not sure if they identify where her actual father is, but
it says the reason she came back from she went to college or whatever.
To Portland, I think.
Yeah, but he was forgetting things lately. Sometimes he'd be as sharp as a blackberry bush thorn. And I just had to pause and go, I'm not familiar. Is that like a Marionberry? I don't know what that is.
What's the gender of blackberries? I can't tell if I should name a male dog after them or not.
Right.
But she sort of, he's taught her, the ways of how to play poker and build a fire without using matches and those sort of tough lady type of skills. So just more of her character building.
So she drags his drunken carcass home and sets him in front of the thing where he probably chokes on his own vomit. Who knows?
Right.
But she goes back to her pie shop late at night, and then we get. I don't know how you could get more cozy, like just absolutely just blasted into your face. Because what she does is several pages describing pie making and. Mm-hmm. In case you weren't cozy enough, planning her gingerbread house while she's doing it. And I just pictured like General Patton yelling, "Yeah, get cozy, you magnificent bastards. Gingerbread house is being planned while we're baking pies and listening to Otis Redding."
Yeah. Well, listening to, what did she say? Oh, I turned the lights on, put some Otis Redding, the Four Tops, and Harold Melvin and the Blue Notes on the speakers to get me energized. So many people wrote in about what that cacophony would sound like, and one guy even reenacted that by putting all three of those on at the same time. But it's sort of like a cozy training montage, like you've got Mickey from Rocky, like you said, bake that pie.
Yeah, and it reminded me of there's a scene in what is that the movie with Kevin Costner dies and they all go to his funeral.
The Big Chill.
The Big Chill, there's a scene where it's just them like cleaning up and listening to Motown.
Yep.
And like bumping each other's backsides.
Yeah,
and
they're doing the
aprons.
dishes. Yeah.
Ain't got time to bed. It's just, that's what I was picturing. She was going for a little of that vibe in this.
Yeah, I think, she's an old soul, I think, is the vibe we're trying to get from Cinnamon.
I'm guessing she had a little bit of flour on her nose.
Yeah, sipping from the wine glass.
As cute
probably.
As a button, yeah.
But she does see this, and I think this was just a little pander to the crowd that this author was probably trying to draw around. Was it 2013, 2012 when she wrote this? I always got as pale as a vampire during the winter in the Central Oregon mountains. All right.
Yes.
All right. Let's get ready to pander. And we were corrected. Twilight does take place in Washington, and I feel like we constantly make that error. But
what do we say?
I think we just said Oregon. I think when we introduced this book, we
right. Okay, sorry.
Also, who cares? Do I mean just a little example of some of the pie baking text? I put the pan in the oven to pre-cook the crusts and then started making the fillings. I was planning on making 2 mountain blueberry cinnamons, 3 Christmas River cherries, a lemon ginger crisp, and if I had time, a moundful Marionberry. I started on the blueberry filling first, mixing together the blueberries, brown sugar, cinnamon, and cornstarch. I mean, that's just, there's a lot of that.
And then finally we get this description. I wasn't looking that bad. My long brown hair was pulled back in a loose-fitting ponytail, and my bangs had maintained their shape throughout the day of hard work. No, come on.
Right.
I was getting pretty chunky, let's face it.
Right, yeah.
My ass looked like 2 pigs in a gunny sack, and yeah. No.
I had been meaning to buy deodorant for a couple days now, but just the idea of changing out of my sweatpants to get to the store was just something that was insurmountable.
For genetic reasons, I do have a bit of a mustache, and I hadn't trimmed that back in a while.
Right. No, she's surprisingly cute, believe it or not.
Yes.
Even though she does, I think they mentioned this earlier, like when she was talking to Kara, like, we're not getting any younger. She is 33, so it's not like she's,
Right.
you know, she's still, she's not old is the takeaway there.
Well, she's 33, and they all have this like dark past. The doctor is early 40s, and like he was married a long, long time ago. Like, what? He's 14?
Yeah, right. Yeah, I guess that's the sort of. I mean, that's again the trope is the woman who's been too focused on her career to, you know, settle down. That's the classic hallmark.
Yes, very classic.
So I guess that's sort of what you have here. But in this, the career is pie shop bakery in a town of 5,000.
Yeah. And so finally the first hint of, I think, trouble in, well, I guess there's trouble when you have a drunken grandfather who
You're passing out
who
in front of the
watches
TV.
Where Eagles Dare while peeing himself. That's probably trouble. But she hears the pooch again, and I think sees the pooch.
Yeah.
And then goes to the back door to feed him the poisonous diarrhea pie when she suddenly like just gets one of her chills, that condition that she has because she sees a man.
A man.
Oh my God. And she says, let's see, everybody knew about the meth houses out in the depths of the Oregon woods. And I thought, yeah, you know what brings the meth houses?
Oh,
The interstate, baby.
New interstate.
Oh, who are you going to blame?
Wow. Yeah, we had to look that up. Just if you haven't listened to the Quilters Pushback episodes, it's truly a special book from the
It really is.
The interstates were what was blamed to bring the menace of drugs to this small town, because the interstates provided the quick and easy access for the drug dealers to duck off and then get right back on and head back to the big city in order to disperse their wares.
A very novel concept. I love it.
But yeah, my thought was like, if there is a series where meth overturns the town and there's, you know, people, you know, that is the mystery, I will be very unhappy if that's not the one we picked. But I didn't see that in any of the descriptions. So, and also as the town of 5,000, I just wondered how far away these could be that someone could be just like traipsing through the snowy woods to get to her house. Like if they're if they're more than half a mile out of town, that seems too close. But how far are you really going to just like wander through the woods late at night like this?
Yeah, maybe we could get somebody to give us a layout of the town. That would be nice to know.
That'd be nice too. Yeah, I think.
Yeah, I feel like it's, you know, along the banks of the Christmas River. Mm-hmm. I went to college in a small town that's kind of that, like the main street sort of arranged along either side of a little twisting river. Very nice. So behind it, yeah, I guess you could get woods behind it.
Sure, or just like squatting in the old like pulp mills or something.
Yeah.
Cozy.
Cozy.
She says that the guy shows up. She says, "Stay where you are." I think she always has mace or something in her one of her pouches or something like that. But anyway, she's calling 911, and then she says, I through the heavy snowfall, I got a better look at who he was. I gazed at his face for a moment, and when I recognized him, the phone slid out of my hand, hitting the cold tile floor with the crash. End of chapter.
Cozy.
And then just like Dan Brown, it's chapter 5. What are you doing here? He started pulling his cowboy hat off. So it's the cowboy from the bar.
I like that he is also, so I thought he would come in and go, like I saw you in that place, and like his inebriation would have been, fake or, like just a put on. Like I ordered the whiskey, but I had my eye on you, miss, and I got something to say.
Yeah, I've been sober for 10 years, and I was about to relapse, and then I saw you. Like I'm completely stone sober.
But no, he's piss drunk, like stumbling, piss your pants,
glazed eyes, confused, like.
It's just the coziness just goes on and on. Yeah. Everybody's drunk in this town.
And the reason that he's even here is he was so drunk that he followed the stray dog through the snow to her pie shop.
Hey, dog, come here, doggy. I got some whiskey for you. Oh, where's he going?
Yeah, so that's a treat. She says later, like, oh, he's gonna feel it in the morning, and he's like, eating the pie to sober up. But we get this nice little thing, and I could just envision this this exchange. She says, I followed the dog through the woods, and I saw this place, and it looked like heaven from out there. It smells like it too. I smiled nervously. It's my pie shop, I said. So she's sort of just like twisting her hands and biting her lower lip there. It's a perfect moment, a perfect cozy moment.
She's not afraid at all that he'll suddenly go like, hey, you look pretty good. There's nobody around. Yeah. The pie tips over the chair.
Not to the Marion berries. You threw up right into the pie tin. I'll feed it to the dog. It's not going to, comes out the same for him. He says, the dog keeps coming back for scraps, and the guy says, I can see why. It smells like home in here. Because I used to live in a shanty besides the Hostess Pie Factory. Like, that's right. I'd sleep it off when the old lady would throw me out. Like, that's why it smells like home.
Yeah, I paid for that place for like 2 years. I lived in it for like a month. Bitch. Oh, this is my pie shop.
Yeah, I'm just sort of a nerd. I don't know. I drink pies and listen to Otis Redding. But it does say, like, he looks at her and then says it seemed to come out of his drunkenness a bit. So,
and then in his drunkenness, this is something that I don't know. If we've all been drunk at some point, and you notice a gingerbread house and you start noticing the details of the gingerbread house. That's a characteristic of being extremely inebriated.
Yeah.
Is that the sheriff? He said, pointing to a small decorated gingerbread man. Man, I love gingerbread sheriffs. Like a great man.
Just does his drunk lean onto the wall of the gingerbread house and collapses it. And
I'm sorry.
You're worse than Gretchen, you drunk.
Seriously, I'm going to call you every year at this day to remember this.
I'll fix it. Just where's the icing? I'll fix it.
Falls asleep on the south wall of the building.
Oh, so yeah, that's great. But yeah, she's her theme for the thing is like a Western town or something like that. And so again, multiple people wrote in to suggest that who is the sheriff of Christmas River would be something this gingerbread sheriff might be saying. But he does say you're one of those gingerbread competition ladies, aren't you? Guilty as charged.
That's me.
He says, I used to know a girl who entered every year, but that was a long, long time ago. And he says, I was quiet. He still didn't recognize me. And at this point in time, we don't know. I thought she just meant he didn't recognize me from the time our eyes locked at the, O'Brien's Tavern. But it turns out that they do have backstory. He's one of the guys that Kara mentioned earlier.
Yes, yeah. That was a little confusing to me at first, but then it becomes clear. But it is funny that, a lot of these characters, if it wasn't a cozy mystery, it would be like, you seem like a dangerous man. Have you ever killed someone? I did, ma'am. But that was a long, long time ago. But this one is like, I used to know a woman who entered a gingerbread competition. Yeah. But that was a long, long time ago. Amazing substitution.
Yes. Chapter 6 begins with the identification of this guy as Daniel Brightman, who was mentioned earlier. It says he ate the reheated slice of Christmas River cherry pie the same way Huckleberry ate it. She says, I hadn't seen anyone eat one of my pies like that in a long, long time. The customers were usually self-conscious, eating the pie neatly, bite by bite, afraid that if they didn't, someone might think they were a pig. But Daniel was scarfing it down like he was in love with every bite. Maybe it was because he was drunk, but I liked that he didn't seem to care.
When my kids were little, one of my boys had a friend who would eat at we had a little, counter that I would serve across from them and, making their macaroni and cheese or whatever. And one of the kids would make yummy noises while he ate. And I had to leave the room. Like, I couldn't. He would go he'd hunch over. Like
he's Homer Simpson?
Yeah, he'd do the Daniel Brightman hunch and, his arm around the front of the bowl and then go, oh. God. It was... I literally couldn't be in the room. Like I know there should be an adult in the room, but I can't be here. So
that's where you start planting evidence. You put like a bottle of beer in his backpack and be like, "Oh, you can't hang out with this kid anymore. He's a bad influence."
Can he come over again, Daddy? Oh God.
But the way that she is observing this drunken, scarfing down to this pie is beyond parody. She's sitting across from him, drinking a cup of pomegranate tea. Holding it with both hands, I think is implied. Her feet tucked under her.
Of course. Maybe took the oversized sweater and sort of looped it over her knees, maybe.
Oh.
I didn't recognize, I don't know what pomegranate is. Is that like a Marionberry? I'm going to keep writing that. Thank you.
Sure. I think if maybe we should have I'll save it for Patreon.
Making a Marionberry pie.
Oh God, I've already made one pie for this podcast. I don't know if we can, but there's got to be a competition to find the best photo of this coziness we're embodying. So we'll save that. We'll post that on Patreon.
Oh man, I'm sure that clip art is full of it.
Yeah, maybe AI can generate the perfect one. Let's see.
Oh, yeah.
Here's what Daniel says. She says the dog keeps showing up here, and Daniel says, I don't blame him, he said, smiling and finishing off the last giant forkful of pie. When I saw the lights from the woods, I wondered if I hadn't froze out there and if I hadn't just wandered into heaven. So I was again wondering, like, he came here from the bar that she drove from, but like, she's wandering through woods to get here? Like, she's living in Hansel and Gretel's gingerbread house? Like, this is the pie shop in the town.
Right.
I just don't, the map is probably needed at some point in time. And she said,
Does he walk past the, the back of the podiatrist's place? And he's just like scraping pie off a plate into his garbage.
Yeah.
Like, why is there a guy chasing a dog outside?
But she says, I shook my head and tried to suppress a smile. It sounded like a line out of a bad novel, but he said it with such sincerity, I just couldn't laugh at it. That's an all caps settle down.
Yeah. Come on, no meta dialogue in this thing.
But she's in here. I think she said she was baking 7 pies, but she then sort of describes, her workload. She says, I don't get as much sleep as I used to. The hours are long. I'm here early in the morning and late at night. But at the end of the day, it's all worth it. You know what I mean? All the bad stuff just melts away because I belong doing this.
He says, it's hard to believe that a person who owns a pie shop and builds gingerbread houses and listens to Otis Redding doesn't believe in a little magic. I shrugged. Well, I'm not your average gal, I guess.
Yeah.
Biting her lip again. But then she says, I felt chills run down the back of my spine, but they weren't the bad chills I usually got. Again, please go see a specialist.
Yes, this is the numbing of the stroke onset chills or something.
Yes, this is not good. Someone's going, the doctor has to take that little pin and sort of go up and down your foot. Like, can you feel this? Can you feel this?
Oh, God, no.
I just run a pie shop.
Oh, now she's hallucinating. She thinks she's able to sustain a pie shop in a town of 5,000. This is worse than we thought.
Oh, my God. Wheel her into ER immediately.
That pie shop went bankrupt 10 years ago this very day. This was sort of like the hallmarky and flirty dialogue that just made me had to chill down my spine from how bad it was. It says, "So stranger, what do you do?" "Me," he said. "I thought you'd have guessed it by now. I'm a professional pie taster." That made me laugh. He looked back at me with a straight face. "No, really," he said. "You laugh, but I'm very distinguished. I'm constantly traveling from town to town, dispensing my wealth of knowledge to bakers around the world. I'm very well known in some circles, you know. You could stop the little bit here. This is..." And then she says, "Of all the shops you could have stumbled into tonight, you found mine."
Oh, well, that comes back.
Yeah,
I have deep problems with that.
Yeah, you've already besmirched one classic movie in this tale.
But you have to imagine that everything he's doing, all of these lines, like being sort of, the witty dialogue again from a 30s meet cute or something, is he must his face is like covered like Rick of Rick and Morty with like some drool, booze, whatever that is.
Boysenberry syrup.
Yeah. It's a fresh pie taste.
Right. It's one of those things where it shows it from his perspective and he's, charming her and everything's sparkling, and then it cuts to what she's seeing and he's just like the drool has reached the pie plate.
Growing circle of urine in his pants.
But she volunteers to drive him home so that he doesn't, fall into a snow blanket and have a foot amputated in the morning.
Which I think is a double beat of her driving drunk people home. Is like, all right, pick one.
Right.
Pick a person you drive drunk home.
It's also an odd way of showing, her altruistic big heart, is just enabling drunks.
Yeah.
Whose doctors have explicitly told them to stop drinking, but she's like, "I'll get you from the bar tonight, Grandpa."
Right.
But chapter 7 begins with her taking him home. She says, "He gave me directions, but I remembered where the Brightman house was." And he's fallen asleep, and she thinks that it's the booze wearing off, and so he's passing out. But he says, "I don't want you to be sad." Or sorry, I don't want you to be sad. Was that the whiskey talking? "I don't want you to be sad anymore. I see that you are, but I don't know what you are, but I don't want you to be. You're too..." He trailed off.
Again, that's the, late night drunk talk of someone like, "I'm serious. Shut up, everybody. I'm serious, man.
Right. No.
I love you. I love you guys, man." Yeah, please stop saying this. Yeah. I'm more sober than you. We know this is not going anywhere.
We're not starting a band, man. Come on, just go to bed. Eat the pie and go to bed.
No, we're not going to get a place together, man. I'm happy where I am.
And she says, "Good night, Daniel." But then as she's driving off, she sees him staring at her, and she realized that he'd never told her her name. So he's doing some mental calculations with, at this point in time, have got to just be like, what?
Wait, what? And then as he turned to sort of look at her car going away, he tripped and fell over and hit his head against the stairs and bled out. And that's the last we'll see of Daniel.
Right.
I'm assuming that's what happens.
Yeah, but you know what that would be? That would be the only dead body that this town knows about at this point in time in this story. Because if you've been keeping track at home, we're through 7 chapters, and the purported murder has not yet entered our story.
So yeah, we're on to that was a very short chapter. She just drops him off at home in that chapter.
Yeah, it ends with, "I don't want you to be sad anymore. I didn't like it that he could read me so easily." And it's just like, I don't know if he'd really read you or he just sort of did the math about you living at home, inviting drunks into your pie shop in a town of 5,000 as a 33-year-old ancient spinster. He just sort of did the math here.
Or it's just his shtick. It's his end of the night shtick. It's his beer goggle shtick. Like, You're so pretty, but I see sadness in your eyes, man. You're sad.
Oh man,
like, how does he know me so well?
Yeah. He doesn't
know that I rescue squirrels. Did you know that? Oh, you're so sweet.
At the bar that we discussed when the Will Smith happened, the bar I got slapped in by my friend who said, "I'm sorry, I tried to slap you."
Mm-hmm.
I watched a guy do something like that we were 18 and he was trying to hit on my friend who also went to high school with me. He did he just came up to, I was standing next to her. He said, do you hate me? He's like, what? No? And he's like, oh, I just couldn't live with myself if the most beautiful woman in the bar hated me.
Oh God.
Oh. And it was probably like the first time I'd been in a bar. I was like, this actually happens? People try this type of shit? Like, if I said you had a beautiful body, would you hold it against me?
Were you in Westworld's bar world or something? Or just recreated cliches for you?
I don't know. I just getting slapped and then saying, "I'm sorry, I tried to slap you," a cliche? I don't know.
Chapter 8 opens with... this is one of my favorites. I think this is just a Bryan Adams song where she says, thinking back to those long summers when I was a teenager, driving down forest back roads with the radio turned way up, rooting for the Christmas River High School boys of summer while they circled the bases, and spending the evenings out under a blanket of stars.
Yeah, wow. I mean, she's my age. This is not the summer of '69 was well before we were both born.
Well, it's a small town. Remember that.
Yeah.
You got to kind of dial back the timeline.
Yeah. Logging on to sex with strangers, sending nudes over IM. Like, all these things existed during this person's childhood. Like,
of course.
Reading Paris Hilton.
Yeah, she had, I guess, my upbringing. Somehow I guess her grandpa really kept a tight lid on it.
Yeah.
No computers.
She meant when she called 911, I was like, is this, she said it was like a battered old phone that fell to the ground. I was like, is there going to be plot points that hinge on, smartphones not existing in this world? And maybe the internet doesn't exist. I mean, that would be, the town had almost wasn't big enough to support it. But once I started selling Christmas's pies or Cinnamon's pies online, that's when I was really able to sustain this. But maybe the internet just doesn't exist here.
Well, she wiped out Marion Barry. She can wipe out the internet too, I guess.
The coziness ratchets up when she says, I had never been a carefree person. The death of my mother at an early age took care of that.
Yes.
But she goes on to describe these hot summer nights when the boys of summer are playing ball. Daniel Brightman was 2 grades ahead of me at Christmas River High. And I tried to do some back-of-the-envelope math about how many people would have attended the school. If you have a town of 5,000, you say there's, if everyone's a family of 4, that's 1,250 people. And then if you divide that by 18, I don't know, like 69 people in every class. Like, that was what it came out to. I don't know. I just tried to figure out how big the high school was here for him to not remember.
Do you think there could be 2 high schools?
Oh, God, no. There can't possibly be.
You wouldn't think, but maybe on either side of the river is the only thought that I had.
Sure. West Christmas,
Right.
East Christmas. She says they attended a party down at the burned tree, a pine tree that had been struck by lightning. And she's already regretting it when they get there because she didn't belong there with the Callie Bennetts or the Julia Mathesons, the girls who had fathers who were real estate developers or lawyers. And that seemed like a slam to leave the pro bono podiatrists out of that description of the town's elites there. Those elite real estate developers in the town of 5,000.
But Kara went there, so she needed a wing girl, as she says, because she's going to meet Billy Sanders.
Nice.
So we've met Daniel and Billy, but Kevin Rhines... short shrift. I was looking forward to this party of Kevin Rhines being like the guy who wants him to buy a hot Ferrari or something.
Oh yeah, right. The Shermanator from American Pie, the peripheral horny character.
Billy, who's the chick, man? It was Kevin Rhines.
But it might not even happen here because she goes on to describe herself. We got the picture of herself in the mirror, being like, I look pretty good. And my bangs are still in place. But she says Kara was pretty and could pass with them, but not me. No, I didn't belong with them or with the boys that were there either. I stuck out like a sore thumb, like a homeless person at a charity ball, like a beat-up Hyundai in a parking lot full of Porsches, like a pair of weathered Reebok sneakers next to shiny Air Jordans in a shoe closet. Does she have a hook hand or something? Like, how ugly does she want us to make us think she is? She seems perfectly fine to me.
She's, I was waiting for the description of the Elephant Man. I was in a play of him where they had to study his actual physicality, like he had a sack of stinking, rotting flesh actually hanging down his back, but they couldn't remove it, and then his head was obviously like a giant misshapen beach ball
oh my God.
with Gollum hair sort of hanging down from. That's what I'm picturing her.
Hey,
I am not an animal.
Whoa, hey, give me a few seconds to put on the beer goggles, lady. I'll be right back.
Let's pour you some of this magic elixir, and you'll start looking better.
But the whole point is that Daniel Brightman shows up, takes a seat right next to her, and he is, this is described as a positive in this book, he is the bring an acoustic guitar to the campfire guy in this town.
This is the beginning of Jaws, the party by the beach.
Sure.
People having fun, and this guy suddenly... guitar guy. I guess it's Animal House too. The guy sitting on the steps.
Yep, yes. Yeah, he said he's playing an old song from the 70s. I'd heard the song before, but had never sung so sweetly, and I felt we were deprived of knowing what this song might be.
Oh, I have guesses.
Oh, I do too.
Okay, you ready?
Yeah.
What are your guesses?
Wreck of the Edmund Fitzgerald?
Something by Bread? Maybe Randy Van Wormer?
Temples of Syrinx by Styx.
Right. John Denver's Sunshine on My Shoulder.
It's Raining Men, the Weather Girls.
Bluer Than Blue by Michael Johnson.
I only went for 3 guesses. Sorry. I don't know Bluer Than Blue by Michael Johnson, though.
Oh, it's the
Nutless Gold
song. Nutless. You stop me when you want to stop me. Robert John's Sad Eyes.
Nope.
Wildfire?
Dave Loggins, Please Come to Boston.
I have that on my list.
Is Wildfire about the horse who dies?
Yes, Michael
Nice.
Martin Murray.
That was in Dave Barry's bad songbook.
Sometimes When We Touch by Dan Hill.
I feel like I've heard that. You've probably played it for me.
Poco's Crazy Love. All right, I'll stop.
I think Lauren's parents had a cat named Poco.
Oh my God.
That was a constant 99-cent record in our college record bin. It would be like, what is this? Why is this always here? It had a horse on the cover.
All right. So he sings her. What was your? I hope it was Temples of Syrinx.
We are the priests of the temples of Syrinx. Their eyes lock, and the fire dies out, and they take her down to the lake. And suddenly, I was looking up into his pale green eyes. He was smiling at me. Don't be afraid. I started saying something stupid, that the thunder didn't scare me. But I didn't get a chance to say any of that because Daniel Brightman brought me closer to him and he kissed me. And that was where I was. Isn't there a dead guy somewhere in this mystery? Like, what are we doing? Like, this is chapter 8 of 13 here, and the dead guy has only been mentioned in the prologue.
Still could be bleeding out. No, wait, he was dead.
Right.
The dog declared him dead. The dog wrote his death certificate. That's right.
And it says, it's one of those kisses you never forget. And that's how Daniel Brightman stole my heart all those years ago. But unfortunately, this doesn't end well for poor Cinnamon. It says, I never got the chance to find out what could have been. He makes plans that he's going to, what does it say? He promised he would call me the next day and we'd go to Christmas River High's preseason football game together the next weekend. But he didn't call. I never got a chance to find out what it could have been. After he didn't call the next day, I asked around. And so, there's plenty of reasons why you might not call someone. Like maybe he was liquored up. Maybe he just, got back together with his girlfriend that he was on the rebound from. But she says, I heard a few days later that his brother, who was 4 years older than him and living in California, had died after being shot in a convenience store by a robber.
La 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 la.
The cozy, ratcheting it up. And, after that, you might sort of just like write him off. You'd feel so bad about your pettiness that you would just probably not hold this as a grudge or a wistful thing all those years later. I wondered about that. And it turns out that the extensive community of Christmas River Cozy dark web fans has wondered about this.
Oh, are they extensive?
Oh, it's like, how they say that 10% of internet traffic is devoted to Twilight memes or whatever. I don't think no one says that, but the after big moments at the Oscars happen, that's like 50% of internet traffic. Beyonce drops a new album. That's what 15% of the dark web is just discussing Christmas River.
Holy cow! Well, we're on the right book then. I had my doubts, but yeah, great.
Yeah. So maybe they will get us a map or something. But they tracked down. Maybe this is from a future book or just fan speculation. What it was like when Cinnamon finally gave in, said I'm tired of waiting for him to call. I'm calling Daniel Brightman, and I'm going to give him a piece of my mind that he hasn't called me back. So they have reenacted that moment for us. I've downloaded it. We can include it in the podcast here. Is what I'm getting at.
Oh, you want to play it now?
Yeah. I mean, someday.
I just thought you wanted to point them to it and give them the URL. And
no, the URL is tricky. It doesn't even have the HTTP. It's one of those Gopher servers,
right? And then everyone would have to get the VPN if they're going to go on the dark web.
Yeah, and
it's a big inconvenience. Yeah, maybe we should just play it.
Yeah, let's play it. That would be a better idea.
Okay, let's do that.
I've had enough. Daniel Brightman may think he can have a one-night stand with every girl in Christmas River, but that was before he met Cinnamon Peters. I'm going to call that jerk and give him a piece of my mind.
Hello?
Yes, Daniel?
This is Daniel. I'm really sorry. I don't have this number. Who am I speaking to?
Oh, don't play dumb with me, Brightman. It seemed like you knew me pretty well when you kissed me by the lake the other night.
Oh, Cinnamon. It's good to hear your voice. Look, I'm sorry. I've got some...
Oh, yeah. So this is your little game? Kiss the girls, say you're going to take them to the football game, and then...
Well, hold that thought 1 second, Cinnamon. Yeah, sure. I'm ready to identify it. Oh, yes. Yes, that's him.
Well, I'll have you know that I don't even like football games, so I totally don't care that we're not going.
Oh, no, don't say that, Cinnamon. It's just that I had to go and... Oh, what's that? Oh, sign the death certificate. Sure, yeah. Okay, there you go.
And I was just faking to be entranced by your guitar playing. You were actually out of tune the whole time.
Oh, now, come on. I understand that you're frustrated, but... Oh, what's that? Oh, his personal effects? Sure, I'll take them. Wallet. Look at that. A photo of us in it. Car keys. Mm-hmm. Phone. Trojan micros. Wait a second. What?
And you can forget about homecoming, too. I'm going to stay at home and drink white wine and watch late-night soul music infomercials.
Now, what are soul music infomercials? Is that really a genre of... Actually, hold up, Cinnamon. I just have to. Micros? I didn't know that was a product. No, I'm not just pretending I didn't know it existed. I legitimately didn't know it. Well, you'd think they'd come up with better branding. I don't know, like a euphemism or something. The Trojan Svelts. I don't know, something like that.
Gonna get started on that white wine now.
It's probably hereditary? Well, it certainly isn't. What's that? Oh, more effects? Sure, okay. Oh, sunglasses. Altoids. Oh, okay, more micros?
You know what? You're not even my type. I'm into altruistic niche doctors.
Oh, more? How many packs of these was he carrying around? What did he have planned?
Are you even listening to me?
Maybe he was tying balloon animals? Wait, On this pack, micros is spelled with a Z. Was he in a branding test market or something? Or were these bootlegs? Hey, my brother is dead, you witch! Oh, I'm sorry for the profane outburst, Cinnamon.
Oh, Daniel, I'm so sorry. Look, I apologize. I'll be here for you in Christmas River whenever you return. Just if you need an ear to talk to or a shoulder to cry on.
Thanks, Cinnamon. That means a lot. Stop handing me those! And hey, I really did have a great time the other night. Let's plan on that football game as soon as I get... Ho, ho, ho! A stray dog! I gotta go chase it! Here, Pooch! Here, Pooch! Woo! Well, the reenactors have done it again, I would say. That's not what I expected to have happened to the brother, but hey, you can't make stuff like that up.
Man, inside information from the author, perhaps? Or
it's a weird detail for her to include, but I mean, she's she's the successful author and not me. So I think that I should probably take a lesson. Maybe put some of that in my next book.
We got to go to the dark web more often. I think people love it.
I do.
I really do. Okay, so here's my pet peeve then. Or here is a peeve. This is not my pet peeve. I don't like that term.
Sure.
I take it back. She goes back again. She ends the chapter with this. Of all the stores and shops downtown that he could have ended up at tonight, he ended up at mine.
Yeah.
You can't dip your cup in that stolen valor twice, lady,
Yeah.
to mix a metaphor.
Dip your cup into stolen valor. Don't do it. That's all right. But yeah, it's the same line, right?
Or is it nearly identical? But yes. But yeah, you can't do that.
Yeah.
Come on, have an unearned. But that's the end of chapter 8.
Yes, chapter 9. Well, we got to do some fanfic. Let's do some fanfic before chapter 9.
Fanfic. Real fanfic. Real fanfic. 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 Real fanfic. Real fanfic. Real fanfic. 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 Real fanfic. Real fanfic. Real fanfic. Fanfic. Fanfic.
Wow. Well, you forget when when the last book was Super Constitution, how many people are going to willing to write in and play along with this stuff when it's a book they can actually read, when it's not an unhinged manifesto. So we got a ton of emails this week, which was reassuring to see that Super Constitution didn't drive people away in droves.
It's also scary to me then, because it kind of ups the competition. You get to just sit above it all and choose, pulling your strings like a puppeteer.
Yes, yeah. I mean, my cozy mystery series about the puppeteer, Christmas in Punch and Judy River, is going to be quite the seller. I'll workshop the title.
Well, we have the other one where it's the murder at the cozy author seminar to write, and then we can do the puppets thing. Because people think of puppets as nothing but cozy, right?
Sure, yes.
Marionettes especially.
Nothing better. My other idea was way sort of detached, ironic one where it's a cozy one about a bud tender who works at a dispensary. I think, since they're all working at these sort of, niche shops, that could be maybe there's an audience there.
Yeah,
anyway,
a cozy weapons dealer, or selling landmines to,
a cozy meat raffler.
Sure. All right. Anyway,
these are real or fanfic. These are written by our beloved Patreon supporters over at patreon.com/372 pages. Oh man, getting every episode early. You're going to have these. I mean, you're going to be cozier this Christmas if you're over on Patreon supporting us. That's my promise. So these are going to be 5. Either potential excerpts from later in Murder in Christmas River or fanfic written by our most devious supporters. Or they could be a mix of it or all one or all the other. And you're going to guess what they are. Number 1, you ready?
I am ready.
Once, when I was a teenager, I saw a pie eating contest at the Poley County Fair where one of the participants ate too much pie and threw up all over the place before being rushed to the hospital. There were rumors that a little girl riding the Ferris wheel found a regurgitated blueberry in her hair. That was a hot mess, but it was nothing compared to the kind of day I had had. The only light at the end of the tunnel had been the fact that Daniel had been there for some of it. I heard the front door slam just as I was dozing off to a rerun of The Big Valley, watching Victoria Barkley descend the stairs of her ranch mansion in an outrageous purple dress. I was lying in my room, wrapped in a pile of comforters and flannel sheets to get the cold out, but so far, it wasn't working.
That is funny for a couple reasons. First of all, The Big Valley was something that, I think it's a show from like the 50s or 60s, a Western. We used to watch it in college, ironically. But the funny thing was it would come up in like, Wagon Train or something, and the announcer would just go, "The Big Valley." And that, that was it. It struck me as very funny that a guy had to walk into a room and just yell, "The Big Valley."
Right. That'd be a great blooper reel to see him, all the different takes of it.
But anyway, the other thing, this is obviously something from Stand By Me, which I had two urges to bring. I had in my notes two things where there was something similar to Stand By Me in this.
Oh, so yeah. Daniel wolfing it down could be Lard-ass Hogan. Is that his name?
Yeah, I wonder if this is just pulling on that thread. But I'm going to say that as fanfic.
Okay. Number 2. "Get it together, Cinnamon," I said, looking at my reflection in the window pane. I was looking pale and shaky and tired and older than I would have liked. I needed a vacation. I needed 2 tickets to Maui. I needed to feel the sun on my face, a warm breeze in my hair. I needed a break. But I had to push those thoughts aside for now. I had to focus on getting through the season. And more than that, I had to focus on what would get me all of those things I wanted. The Gingerbread Junction competition. I had to forget everything else and focus on what I was good at, which was building award-winning gingerbread houses, kicking ass, and taking names. Making Bailey Jackson sorry she ever entered the contest. Making her sorry she ever wronged me. I looked at my reflection and changed my expression of worry to one of determination. I nodded. Then, I preheated the oven.
I like it when I think it's fanfic.
All right. Number 3. "Can you see him?" he yelled from somewhere behind me. I squinted through the moonlit trees trying to note something that reminded me of a dog. Then I saw it. "He's over here," I cried out. "Huckleberry!" I ran as fast as I could to catch up with the poor guy, but there's no easy way to jog through snow, even if it's the light and fluffy newly fallen variety, especially when you're chasing a dog who doesn't know you so well. I could hear Daniel catching up to me as we came over a ridge. I wanted to look at him to see if he was worried as I was for Huckleberry, or if he was concerned about me. I wouldn't have minded if it was a little of both. But before I could turn my head, we stopped in our tracks when we saw an eerie sight. I knew the man was dead because the dog had obviously been digging out his master after several snowfalls. But I also knew the man. I would know those boots anywhere.
Oh, boy. Second Daniel Brightman chasing Huckleberry scene.
Is he boozed up? We don't know.
Well, yeah, everybody's has to be boozed up. I don't know. It's got that verisimilitude of being a little bit flat. So I'm going to say yes, that's real.
Okay. Number 4. "I never really enjoyed the snow," said John. He was still attempting to make small talk, even after the awkwardness of last night. "Oh, no?" I said, wishing that I had more clearly let him know I wasn't interested. "Yeah, I guess I liked it as a kid, always hoping that school would be canceled. But when you get older, it just sort of makes everything a little bit more difficult, you know," he said, staring into his coffee. I suppose it was now or never. I wasn't doing either of us any favors by pretending that things were going back to the way they were. "John, I really appreciate your thoughtfulness in volunteering to help with the Gingerbread Junction competition," I said, finally catching his eye. "But the truth of the matter is, I'm okay as is. In fact, I'm better than okay," I said with an apologetic smile. "I think that for the both of us," I hesitated, thinking what to say. "I think I should drop strawberry rhubarb from the menu."
For both of us. Poor Dr. John.
You don't drop that strawberry pie.
Oh, baby, you got that strawberry. You got that what's that berry that nobody knows what it is? Marion berry. That's the one.
Yeah, you got to put that bad gree in your pie.
I'm going to say that is fanfic.
Okay. Number 5, final one. "You need more pieces," Huckleberry said in the dreamy mist. "Put them together. Catch the killer." I awoke with a start. I looked down.
Yes.
I looked down at the foot of the bed. Huckleberry was there, half asleep, not talking. It was still the middle of the night. It had been a dream. But Dream Huckleberry was right. I knew what I had to do. I jumped out of bed and threw on my clothes. Thanks, pal, I said, kneeling to look in Huckleberry's eyes. Even if it was a dream, you told me what I needed to hear. Then I left for the pie shop. The clock was ticking. The Gingerbread Junction competition was hours away, with lots of baking and decorating to do before it started.
Wow, talking dog. I like that. We'll have to ride the river. I'd like to go to talking dog, and if someone chose it because it's real, then I'm screwed. But I'm going to say it's fanfic.
Okay. All right. Well, I think not your finest performance. Let's go through them. Teenager eating too much pie, puking. Big Valley. You said fanfic. That's real.
Oh, come on.
Submitted by Chap. So the Big
No
Valley.
one can blame me about that.
What?
Just blatantly ripped off from Stand By Me?
Yeah, that's incredible. I don't know. When I was 33, I was falling asleep to Big Valley reruns.
Oh, God.
Number 2. This was Get It Together, Making Her Sorry, Preheating the Oven.
Yeah.
You said fanfic. That was real.
Oh, come on.
That was submitted by 3 different people. I think they thought it was that good. Ross, Jeffrey, and Craig.
I have not been angry since I came to France. This is bad.
Number 3 was them chasing the dog through the snow and finding the man whose boots she would know anywhere. You said real. That was fanfic submitted by Keith.
0.
Wow. You're going to
This is the worst of all time.
You're going to break your cozy mug of tea. Number 4 was taking strawberry rhubarb pie off the menu. You said fanfic. That was fanfic submitted by Hayden.
Oh, great. I've got 1 out of 5.
And number 5 was the talking dog in the dream. You sniffed out that one too. That was fanfic by Craig. So 2 for 5. Ugh. Hey, it's the first time. It's hard to get your finger on what people are doing.
Just, picture me back in the bullpen, and I'm just chatting to the guys next to me on either side. I'm gesturing. I'm going, I don't know, man. This fastball came by. I don't know how to hit it.
Right.
And they're like patting me lightly on the shoulder, like, relax, man. You'll get them next time.
You just got called up. This is the big leagues. Super Constitution was AAA. But also, I think there was like at least a dozen to pick from here. So I really got the best of them.
I mean, those 2 that were real, the first 2 are unbelievable. Like, how could you ever in a million years? So this thing gets pronounced more stupid as it goes on?
I guess so. I'd also like you to keep in mind that neither of those real ones, involved the murder or the aspect of mystery. They were just all about baking the gingerbread house.
Son of a... I mean, I know that is the Hallmark staple. You have the thing at the end, like, you're not coming to the Christmas pageant? Like, I'm sorry, I have to go back to my job. My fiance came, whatever.
Right, and then the surprise appearance.
But those don't purport to have any
mystery.
Murders.
Yeah.
Those are simply nothing but filling. Those are just,
pie filling.
Pure pie filling.
But it's right there on the cover. Well, what? Also, there's a gingerbread man with a knife through him, and then it says a cozy Christmas mystery. So it's
the knife is, by the way, and the whole series, I think, but the knife is very pronounced, and it's stabbed through I'm just looking at the cover right now, stabbed through the belly, through the abdomen of the gingerbread man, who's doing the Mr. Bill, like, oh no.
Yeah.
But stabbed very deeply. This gingerbread man is dead. So
Anyway,
the murder part in as depicted on the cover is quite a large portion of it. So that's good to know.
Well, we have a few chapters left.
Okay.
So this next one starts off with even after several years of owning a pie shop, leaving a warm bed at 5 a.m. was a bitch.
So that's not one of the B words that she changed?
Yes, we will get to that. No,
okay, all right. Sorry.
That one's left in there. When I went to go look into that, this is a shocking wrinkle on the line of the dodecahedron or whatever it was from from Armada. But yes, we have some revisionist coziness going on.
All right, here's the one that I think I texted you my blanket of snow this morning and referenced this. It had really come down the night before. In the light of the street lamps, I could make out a thick layer of snow covering the streets and sidewalks and trees, like a thick layer of buttercream frosting. Wow, that's what poetry.
Yes, really.
Was it thick then, or yeah?
Whose woods are these? I do not know. They're covered in frosting. That I do know.
Oh, good Robert Frost impression.
I'm sure I'm doing your impression of Robert Frost. Yeah, I don't know. Maybe that's just for people who live in Needles, California, who don't know what snow looks like, but are familiar with buttercream frosting carrot cakes or something.
It would have been better though if she said it could make out a thick layer of snow covering the street, like a thin layer of buttercream frost. Just leave everyone going, wait, what?
But see, the frosting itself is naturally thick, so you want to put a thin layer on. Therefore, it.
Right.
So this is I thought this was interesting. She's still hung up on Daniel Brightman, how him saying, you look good to me. After I've told him I'd gained some weight since opening the shop. But she says, it made me smile. She's wearing a plaid robe. I'm sure she's grasping her tea. But it says, it made me smile in the early morning darkness. I quickly quashed the absurd, giddy feeling that arose from the memory. For all I knew about Daniel Brightman these days, he could have been married. I was like, yeah, do you think that the guy who was stumbling home drunk chasing a stray dog is married to a lucky gal who's... at home waiting for him to get there? Like, it seems like he's probably quite eligible at this point in time.
Daniel Bartholomew Brightman, who drove you home?
I don't know. I was chasing a dog.
And you were chasing a what?
It was down the pastures by the podiatrist place. I was chasing a dog. And then I saw the pie shop.
We
Daniel
have a 3-year-old. When you take him to daycare tomorrow, you are doing that no matter how bad you feel.
He has a fever. You knew that.
Oh, that's right.
Did you bring the medicine home?
I love that kid so much.
I forgot.
I love that little bastard.
Come here, babe. Come here.
No. Oh, no. That is not happening.
Come here. No, you
don't make me hit you with this rolling pin, Andy Cap. And then she goes on to say, plus, I should have still been mad at him. His brother was murdered. His brother was murdered in a liquor store robbery, and you're holding a grudge for some reason based on that. It's insane.
Yeah, but she called him, and he didn't answer.
Oh, sure.
So.
Well, he had a lot on his mind that day.
Here's one that I like to nitpick. I'm sorry.
Okay. Hey, we get some nitpicks every now and then on this series.
She says, I'd have to do some heavy-duty shoveling before I could even get out to the street.
Okay.
And then, next paragraph, luckily, the driveway was short, and shoveling was a good way. So, she's just learning about her driveway length right now.
They didn't come by and extend it overnight, man.
It's just funny that she just knows now, like, oh, I'm really, I have to do so much shoveling. Oh, hey, my driveway's short.
How about that?
What if
I came and made your driveway shorter? Yeah, I'd like that.
I like that. So she discovers, my next note is one of my favorite things in the book, is Warren, who's obviously extremely hungover. I don't know why he's up so early.
Sure.
I mean, he's still drunk from the night before, right? He's breathing out fumes.
Uh-huh.
He's frying bacon.
Yeah.
And she says, like, chides him. You know what Dr. Kohler would say about that, as I said, as I pull down 2 mugs from the cupboard.
Nice.
Pre-cozying. Don't I know it?
Pre-cozying.
Warren said, adding some pepper to the crisp, crackling bacon in the pan. That German she-devil wench is trying to kill me with all that Melba toast crap. Melba toast? What? Is she like a pediatrician from the 1930s? Recommending like hot Bovril and ordering to take the waters at Baden-Baden?
Dip your Zwieback in that Bovril. That's a breakfast of, that's what we had in the trenches.
My God.
Yeah, so I retract my earlier statement. Warren almost definitely is a veteran who despises the Germans to this very day.
Oh, but she's recommending Melba toast. So she's like one of those, like, in the early 19th century, like the Kellogg's and everything. You'd go to the weird houses and eat only one food, or the guy who invented graham crackers to solve alcoholism.
Yeah.
Like, just eat these crackers and think of God and you'll be fine.
It'll tamp down the urges.
Who is he seeing in this small town?
Yeah, I mean,
Melba toast.
It could also, it seems like what you would, a character would stereotypically sub in, like, with all that granola crap, like as a quote health food.
Yes,
but
she's like, you will have to special order the Melba toast, obviously, online. Computers don't exist and the internet is not here. Oh, then I don't know how you're going to get Melba toast.
You know what? If the other doctor in the town weren't a podiatrist, I would be going to see him so quickly for my general practitioner.
The only other guy is a chiropractor. We got nothing but crackpots in this town.
I could really use some chiropractic work, but damn it, he doesn't do any pro bono stuff, that selfish bastard. He also says this. He says, you heard what she said about my drinking, right? 2 or 3 drinks a week at the most. Can you believe that? Who does she think I am? A Shih Tzu lapdog. I guess that's the species of dog known for their temperance. I don't know. Like, does a Rottweiler really put it away?
Could it be a little bit of his racism coming through again?
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I guess that's a Shih Tzu is a effeminate dog, so that's I mean, what's her name? She's the dog genital inspector, so she would know more than anybody.
He should have chose dachshund, I'm assuming. Missed opportunity.
Right. That would really amp up the coziness if he was just spouting slurs about the Hun throughout the entire. But then he says this, and I thought this was great. He says, I don't, hey, like, settle down, Grandpa. I don't want you keeling over anytime soon. Well, I will if I'm forced to eat that health food crap and cut down on my drinking. Quality over quantity in life. Am I right, Cindy? And I just like that his definition of quality is the small town bars with sticky floors until all hours of the night. That's really just packing it in your twilight years.
With 2 drunk guys who they don't seem to talk about anything except when she comes in. Like, how's your gingerbread house going, sweetie, right. Sweetie?
Oh, boo! The old ball and chain's here to drag him away.
And then right after that, where he talks about his lifestyle choices, which are wonderful, and I support them, she says, I sighed, taking a sip of my coffee. It was bitter and strong and was just what was needed at 5:15 on a dark winter morning. Get better coffee. You're in a cozy mystery.
Yeah, you've got to have the gingerbread latte syrup or whatever you put into the creamers.
Yeah, your gas station coffee at your house? Get your cozy shit together, woman.
Yeah, it's really unacceptable. If you were an 8 out of 10 this morning and I was a 4, this is a 2.
This is bad.
And that's only because of the thick buttercream frosting. This is another weird touch. It says, you've got enough to do today without being my personal chef, he said. Besides, I'm going to lunch with Bob Garrity this afternoon. He's back in town for a few days, I was like, oh, we don't know this Bob Garrity. He was not mentioned. Oh, he's out of town, but he's coming back to town. And she says, can you order a salad or something? He says, I don't want Bob thinking I've gone soft in my old age. So the character count is just dwarfed by the quilters at this point in time, but they are starting to stack up.
Yes, it's fantastic. And then he goes to drain his bacon, and she says, look, if you're not going to have that, lunch salad, because you and Bob are obviously just going to do, Boilermakers for a Boilermaker lunch or a 3 martini lunch, whatever you guys do. And then he says, oh, sure. I'll, dinner, I'll have nothing but, bib lettuce with a vinegar on it or whatever. Mm-hmm. And then he goes, oh, by the way, I'm, probably going to go to this party with Bob Garrity, the welcome party, so I'm not having dinner either. Like, no, you son of a... You were going to eat a big-ass salad for dinner, and now you're going to drink again. Like, yep, drinking for Bacon for breakfast.
To be planning that at 5:15 a.m., unless you're going to like a Packers tailgate or something. Deeply unhealthy. It's a weeknight. Bob Garrity's got to be like his Chris Finch kind of guy, though. The guy who comes into town, like, oh no, he's in town. Like,
Finchy.
They're going to be throwing kettles over the roof of the pub this evening.
We had a memorable viewing of The Witch with him. Finchy as the father is one of the best. It's just the best casting ever.
You mean the dad from Ready Player One, the boyfriend?
Yes, exactly. Anyway, it was good to see Finchy chopping wood with his shirt off as a pilgrim. That was nice.
But she's, she leaves him and she says he loved his food and loved his beer. Quality over quantity, he said. I drove over to work slowly through the empty streets, thick with snow, thinking about Warren and how we were all getting old.
Man.
Da-da-da-da-da-da-da. Sleigh bells ring. Are you listening?
Silver bells.
She's 33.
All right, so chapter 11.
Chapter 10, I think.
Oh, chapter 10. Sorry.
Yes. Yep. What happens in this one? They come in. Oh, so this is where shit gets real.
Oh, this was very confusing. She has a new gingerbread rival.
Yeah, not Gretchen the witch.
Gretchen the witch who collects raven corpses or whatever.
Toadstools, yeah.
But she calls her a witch too.
Yep. Well, Kara bursts in essentially.
Yes.
She looks enraged as she comes into the office.
She throws her purse down and she says she's joining the competition. Mm-hmm. And then you probably have something about how this was changed. Is this the textual change that we need to address here?
Yeah, it's very interesting. It's
okay.
Because when we got these books, I ordered up the paperbacks and stuff. But then I was like, I want to be able to like take notes and copy and paste easily. So I just like saw if there was an online version. Because I don't need to get into it. I found an old version of this book, like a PDF, and I was like, I was doing it. And in this scene, the Kara just keeps calling her a bitch. Mm-hmm. She's like, I'm so angry, I could just rip that bitch's head off. Kara yelled a little bit too loudly. I was pretty sure all the customers heard her profane outburst, and she kept saying this. And I was like, this is like a Real Housewives episode here. It's deeply out of character. And then when people started sending in their dumb sentences, someone sent in, I could just rip that witch's head off, Kara yelled. I was pretty sure all the customers heard her profane outburst. So they were like, well, that's not profane at all. So, I mean, I went and bought the, Kindle version and at some point in time, the author went back and changed this part. She took out all the bitches and changed them to witches and harpies in this section. So I don't know if it was just bad reviews. I don't know if she went and changed it based on, once the series got successful, if that was the sticking point for some people. But it's a fascinating detail of this series' journey.
Well, I think, didn't we read a review once where, and I don't think we did the book or anything. I'm just trying to think back to like researching books. And there was someone just with a really angry review of someone like, this, filthy mouth woman comes out and is speaking this filth in page 4 of your book. Like, this is not cozy.
Yeah.
And then others sort of echoing that. And you realize that, like, they were talking about a character that was slightly saucy. So it was like a Kara.
Yeah.
And so that is a thing like, look, that's just not tolerated in this genre. How dare you? And she probably went, oh, sorry. I was just trying to be, real.
Right.
Instead of, no, be cozier. This is the trigger warning for everyone. So she changed him.
I think that's what it was. I think there was just a mild backlash, or just the old wise quilters pushed back. Author took her aside and says like, look, if you're going to make it in this game, you got to tamp down the B words, and that's all it could be.
Yeah, but I'm just trying to be. People in my world say that word. I don't care what people. You're in the Cozyverse now.
Yeah. Listen, bitch, I might call you that in real life, and I will, but not in the paper. You can say it all you want. You can toss around the F-bombs and C-words, but when it comes to print, you got to tamp it down. I know it's bitter. I know you don't like it. I know that's how the real people at Christmas River would talk, but that's not going to fly on Kindle Unlimited.
You put another one of those B words in your book, and I swear my dog is going to be hearing steel going into flesh. You understand me?
Did she just threaten to kill my dog? I better take out that one where I say waking up at 5 a.m. is a bitch, too. No, as long as it doesn't refer to another person, even if it is your rival in the gingerbread contest, that's okay. We allow you one per book. It's like F words in a PG-13 movie.
Why are you taking notes while I've got you pinned up against the wall with both hands on your collar? Well, because it's very specific what I'm able to do.
Now, when we go back into this cozy mystery panel, you're not going to speak a word of this. Really? You'd think this was what people would attend this panel to hear lessons like this? Hey!
This was the least coziest thing that happened here, except for that janitor over there mopping up that puke.
Yeah, right. Yeah. And the dog diarrhea. I don't know.
Right.
But yeah, so the interesting change. I'm pretty sure that's the only thing that did. But we're going off the real deal going forward. And Kara says she's entering this year that witch is competing, and it says Kara hadn't mentioned her by name, but I knew who she was talking about. The room started to spin suddenly. I grabbed a hold of the kitchen island and steadied myself. Kara rushed up to me, ready to catch me if I fainted like a Southern belle. I was like, who could provoke this reaction? Is Eileen Wuornos entering the competition here? Like, what on earth is happening?
This did top it, because I was like, I assumed she was talking about the person with her nose in the air. Like, oh no, she actually is entering. I don't know. I was just confused. Yeah. So there's an unnamed nemesis, and you're right. It was just like, my God, she's going to faint?
Yeah.
Again. See the specialist. Fainting is a sign that something is deeply wrong. I mean, it happens. It's a thing, but you do need to see a specialist about your chills and fainting.
Yeah. But it's revealed, essentially. Kara makes her sit down, I think. But she says, I'd recognize that bleached, stringy airhead blonde anywhere. I mean, Kara's blonde, right?
Kara's a platinum blonde, too. She bleaches her hair, too.
And then it says, because she's a greedy bitch, changed to Harpy. You'd think it'd be enough that she stole. And this is when I was like, oh, boy, there are going to be drinks thrown. You know, there's going to be some cozy eggnog latte thrown into a face at some point in time. And it doesn't explain it in this, does it? It keeps saying just like, don't worry, we're going to murder that competition. We're going to paint the walls of her gingerbread house with her blood. There has been an actual murder. There is blood somewhere in this town. It has not yet been addressed in this story.
Yeah, no, this chapter does not tell us. I think we have to wait till the next chapter for it to be revealed. But
yes.
Here's her state. This is just to what do they say? Elevate the stakes when you're writing a script or whatever. The stakes are elevated. Mm-hmm. I stared out the window like a mental patient while Kara tried to tell me all the ways she would be sorry. After a few minutes, a burning smell hit my nostrils. So coziness is, literally obliterated here. She burns her pies.
Yeah.
So, yeah, stakes elevated.
It's a garbage truck just going to, like, dump the thing onto her, empty it onto her car where it's parked or something. The dumpster. Like, that's...
Yes.
But yeah, the burnt. So she's burnt, like, all the pies she had, I guess, made last night beyond salvaging. So what do you do in that case? She puts 3 pies outside of the back patio. At least Huckleberry would be happy tonight. It's like... So you might find the dog's dead body before they find his owner's dead body at this point in time.
Just imagine the pile of sort of blue and brownish vomit that's surrounding the corpse of the dog out the back of the pie shop.
Yeah, it's well known when you're in bear country doing some backpacking. You can see bears, they gorge on the berries, and you can tell when they've been on the trail and left behind the bear droppings, because it's just like you can see that there's berries there. So that's what Huckleberry's going to be doing.
All right, so she burns the pies, and then chapter 11, right?
Yeah, chapter 11. This is where it's revealed why she's so upset about this. It says, it had completely come out of left field. I hadn't seen it coming. I figured that she'd taken everything from me already. What more could she possibly do? But I guess I had been wrong, and Kara had been right. She wasn't going to stop with stealing my husband. Ooh, Bailey. The woman who up until 2 years ago had been my bakery assistant and good friend, wanted to take the Gingerbread Junction competition title away from me too. So it's a betrayal in every sense. Like, she was her Padawan learner in the bakery shop. You've got the Obi-Wan and Anakin connection going. But not only did she just take everything she learned in the shop and then turn it against her, she also stole her husband.
Yeah, well, I think that she was... So they were doing the big chill thing all the time, but then the husband would come in while they were playing Ain't Too Proud to Beg, and he was bumping bottoms with him too and putting pies in and then going off to work and coming back. But the whole time he was banging Bailey.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
Little troika going on here too, kind of.
The troika.
It says that she'd known him forever. They were like high school sweethearts, maybe after the incident with Daniel went down. But he started like lying to her. He'd stay out a little late with his buddies, or go on business trips for his job with the High Springs Lodge that lasted longer than he told me they would, or when he'd offered to give Bailey rides home to work after her car broke down. That's one of the bigger signs, I would say.
What kind of car do you have? Oh, it's very dependable. Dope.
Damn, this thick buttercream frosting snow.
And she discovers it just by his phone buzzing.
Yeah.
And then
while he's
she
in the shower.
Yeah. So every cliche, just as you'd imagine how a movie would go, is happening here.
Yeah, although she does specify this is disappointing that there hadn't even been anything explicit or incriminating in the text message, and that if she was just sending nudes, that would have taken it to a whole new level.
And then she says, "This is great. When I finished yelling at him," so she confronts him and throwing every curse word in the English language at him, I kicked him out of the house.
Wow.
Should we run through them?
I mean, sure.
Should we do that as a Patreon extra?
Sure.
Every curse word in the English language.
Because you get pretty creative, There's just, the advent of the internet with, eat a flaming bag of, and then all this stuff. Just like people have gotten really creative. So.
Oh yeah, I mean, but it would be a fun exploration of what she had to call him. Would be man. It would take him.
Not cozy, that's for sure.
Yeah, and it's like 6 a.m, and he's like, "How far through that list are you now?"
Yeah. Did that one come from Beowulf? Like, is that what they were? Is that what they were calling? Calling Hrothgar behind his back?
Yes, I'm using curse words after and before the great vowel shift. You son of a! Oh, I already said that.
Right. His reaction was to then break a lamp in their room and storm out, which I thought was funny. And it says, all the reasons, he said all these things, none of them were the real reason he was leaving me. None of it was the real reason he'd started up an affair with a woman who had been one of our best friends. And I just, be like, the reason is the lava hot sex. Cinnamon. That's why I'm moving in with Bailey. And then this was also very funny. They'd left town with her after the divorce. They'd moved closer to Metolius Valley.
Yes.
Which is a town a little bigger than Christmas River, 20 minutes away. And I just thought that's the least cozy sounding community ever. And I looked it up just to see if it was like a real thing. The first result for it is Metolius Valley Farm Incorporated was established in October 2010 with the focus on the cultivation of mushrooms for the Philippines market. So
I almost looked that up too because I was like, wait, what? Why a hard to pronounce sort of Latin-y kind of word? Metolius Valley? I thought it like a god of pagan Christmas or something? Like, what is that?
Maybe he's a mushroom spirit or something. But it's very funny it's like it's Shelbyville. It's just this downtown, very corporate, sounding area. People, nothing's really based there, but a lot of businesses just, are established there for the tax breaks that Metolius Valley gives you.
I wonder if it's actually, like the way they know you're not from the area is it's actually pronounced Metolius.
Oh, sure.
And then you come into town like, it's great to be here in Metolius.
The jukebox stops. Yeah. But she says she feels like an inverted zombie, all dead and rotted on the inside, and then calls her a home wrecker and says she wanted to wring her by her scrawny neck and scream at her at the top of the lungs. Haven't you done enough? Cozy.
So cozy. And then she's walking on a bridge, which, is pretty cozy. But an old couple walk behind me on the bridge. Their heavy steps making the bridge shake. She ignores them and she didn't feel in the mood to chat. They passed by quickly, thankfully, and without any conversation. And she says explicitly, like, I know everyone in town. So it is just very funny that the pie shop owner, their customers, like, not coming back to your shop, bitch.
Right. Yeah. They're calling her someone who might drown if it rained because she's looking up with her nose in the air past them. Little lack of self-awareness here.
Hey, Cinnamon, I need 30 pies for our party. Oh, you're not going to talk to me? All right.
Oh. Well, but that's it's drama. It's not. I mean, I wouldn't call it a mystery. Like Bailey's motives
nothing
quite clear, and there is a dead body, and we have 2 chapters left in this section to put us a third of the way through the book, and I'm going to get ahead of it. The body is not addressed in these next 2 chapters. It is not discovered. It is not focused on. There's nothing here. I guess we don't know how long it's been. She's been feeding the dog for a couple days now, so the body's probably been eaten by some sort of woodland animal to some degree.
Well, I mean, huckleberry,
right? Exactly.
A little Marie Provost action there.
What is that?
Oh, that was a purportedly. I guess it's not true, but purportedly. A woman in Hollywood died in her apartment, and then her dogs ate her.
God.
So, I don't know if that's true. But anyway,
Chapter
The Master,
12?
maybe.
Yeah,
Chapter 12. So Dr. John, oh, yeah, will get me some pie. It'll be good. Dr. John's waiting outside her pie shop. Mm-hmm. What? So, cancel my 2 appointments. I'm going to go wait outside the pie shop.
Yeah. Hey, you leave all of yours feet. They ain't going to come back and hurt you. I ain't ever heard of toenail cancer.
Yeah, your feet still going to be there when I get back.
Just slap some of them doctor shows in your shoes there.
Oh, you slip them right in there. Sometimes you have to trim the front of them, but they fit right in there real good, yeah.
And yes, I am going to charge you $150 for them doctor shows, but your insurance can't carry that because you got that platinum plan.
You can just see the lady out front to pay her. Yeah, go be good. So Dr. John's waiting outside the pie shop for his lunch where he doesn't eat anything.
He's a deeply disturbed and desperate man.
This is not good for a doctor.
Yeah, a bad look. I mean,
yes.
doing pro bono work is a bad look, I'd say, in this town, because you got to make some money. But once you give them the first taste of that bunion filing, they're not going to want to pay for it. But this is even worse.
Yeah, and he goes in to eat a pie that she only makes for him.
Rhubarb strawberry.
Yes, because she doesn't like the flavor, and it was rarely ordered by anybody else. So he picks a pie flavor to not eat. Yeah. So what the hell kind of a pantomime do they have going on here? Her baking pies that nobody else is buying? So she's throwing away inventory for this idiot who comes every day and mushes it around on his plate and hides it under the rim of his dish, and then leaves.
Right. I mean,
this is weird.
It's a deeply disturbed, deeply uncozy aspect of the whole story. Yes. Especially because it's been going on for, I think she said, over a year, right? He's been doing this for over a year.
Yeah.
Let's just read the description. I only ever made the rhubarb pie for him these days. I myself had never been a big fan of that flavor combination, and it was rarely ever ordered by anybody else this time of year. But John was insistent on ordering it every time. He never even finished it, and I got the impression he didn't really like it, or any other pie for that matter. Still, he was close to being my most loyal customer. I don't know what that means. I don't know. They don't address who's even more loyal than this idiot.
And and so he doesn't like any pie for that matter. She closes with.
Yeah.
So what? I don't know what is going on. And she doesn't ever say it never comes up to go did you eat lunch already?
Right.
Do you eat in your office and then you get a piece of pie? Because, like a pie shop, you would think you bake in the morning or whatever, and then you just kind of open at 2 or something so people can come in after they... But he's going there for lunch and shoving pie around.
She does serve coffee, so there was some sort of counter. I'm not sure. There was a pie shop in Vermont that we would stop on the way back from the ski slope sometimes. But all it was like a outdoor, almost like one of those little free libraries where they'd put the pies in, you'd leave cash in a cash box. So it was extremely cozy, very Vermont. But that was a pie shop. That's that's the storefront you need for this type of thing. But this is a place where the guy can come in and be weird around you. And I guess that just is needed for this place for the story to really happen.
Yeah, so Weirdo comes in, and he's the only one, because he goes in every day. And this is, I'm just going to get the plot advanced here, is that she's like, well, I burned a bunch of pies last night. He's like, well, I can come and help you make some more pies if that's what you need. She's like, no, thank you, no, I don't want to make any, you're fine, I don't need to be put out. No, you wouldn't be putting me out. It would be my pleasure. Maybe I could take you to dinner afterwards. And she says her stomach started churning with uneasiness.
Yeah, that's how off-putting he is.
Yeah, so this guy is, gross. He's got like foot skin dust all over his hands as he's like pushing his pie around.
He's clearing his throat free of phlegm. She specifically specified as he drinks his coffee. So yeah, maybe he has had a Dr. John voice going on if that was a problem.
So in that there's no reason that 12 and 13 are the same chapter. I don't know why she.
Oh sure, yeah. Let's go into 13. But she also says, in a town this small, a lot of women would have thought I hit a home run by nabbing a handsome doctor. So like it's sort of unspecified why she's so against this guy. Probably because he's weirdly unappealing and crazy. But that's sort of the hallmark plot. Is that you come here and you hook up with the hot doctor?
Yeah, you have the guy who is sort of likable. What is like you've got mail or whatever? Isn't
okay.
She has a fiance or whatever, and you're always going like, he doesn't seem that bad.
Right?
How are you going to shunt this guy to the side?
Yeah.
So I guess that's John's role in this, is to be the Dr. John. So.
Yeah, bland guy. He's just from the Hallmark stable of bland guy actors.
Yes.
But he's unfortunately knocked aside by the bad boy cowboy with a beard, Daniel Brightman, who comes back in chapter 13, interrupts like right when he says, can I take you to dinner? And then Daniel Brightman, Cinnamon Peters, how the hell are you?
Toothpick in his mouth. It's good to see you, darling. Slapping her on the ass. A filly like you shouldn't be alone for long. You know what I'm saying? All right.
Yeah, he's Sawyer from Lost.
Yes.
But he says, you wouldn't believe how tortured I was by not being able to figure out who you were. He says, I lay awake half the night trying to figure out. And I was like, did she have total reconstructive surgery? This is a town of, his high school class had 50 people in it. Like, what are you possibly trying to do? You'd probably hear that someone had moved back and opened up a successful pie shop.
Yes, and 33 no one physically changes that much at 33.
No, I don't think so. But she says, what tipped you off, Sherlock? To which I said, whoa, hey, let's keep all traces of mystery out of this book. You can't be tossing around detective names here. People might get the wrong idea about what kind of book this is.
Yeah, stop reminding me of people solving crimes. That's
And he says, it took me about 3 a.m. to get to the summer after our junior year, but I got there. And she says, that memorable, huh? Raising my eyebrows and placing a hand on my hip. And he says, no, it's not that at all. Just my memory works differently. He says something extremely enigmatic and then just moves on. So I'm not sure what exactly he means. Probably that he was blackout drunk and just sort of had to regain consciousness.
I think it was just what his parents told him about his deficiency of learning or something.
Yep.
No, honey, your memory just works differently.
And that's why your brother's dead. But he does say, yeah, I remember you. And he still remembers the night by the lake, too, which took place at this point in time, 16 years, half their lives ago. But he still remembers like one kiss he had with her out on the lake then. And it still evidently means something deeply to him as well.
And then she references his terrible joke, which I would think she'd be rubbing it in. Like, remember when you said you were a professional pie taster? But no, she says it in a way. So, professional pie taster, what in the hell are you doing back here? I thought I'd never see you again the way you tore out of town. My dad died 3 years ago, Daniel said. All right. I was making small talk, you dick.
Yeah. Someone's always got to be dying with you. It's incredible. But yeah, he does apologize for not calling her back. He says, I wasn't in a good place. I'm sorry if I hurt you. Like the guy robbing the liquor store hurt my brother.
Oh, that's what it reminded me of in Stand By Me when his brother gets killed. At the end of that book, and also the movie, the best friend gets killed in a fast food line, I think.
Really? Huh?
Yeah, he gets stabbed to death. He tries to intervene in a
God.
quarrel or something and gets stabbed to death. I was like, I wonder if there's been a couple references that make me think she was thinking of that. Anyway.
Interesting. Well, it's an easy way to give your character some weight they have to carry around, a burden to shoulder. It's to have loved ones of theirs die tragically.
Yeah, and so she's flirting with Dangerous Cowboy Man with Matthew McConaughey here, and Dr. John, the schlub, who's,
No, he's handsome. It just explicitly said it.
But he's breaking off pieces of his crust and surreptitiously throwing it in the trash can, is staring at them and darting his eyes over. And she's like, God, I know you're staring at our flirting. And it's like so uncomfortable.
Yeah, it's deeply uncomfortable. And then he gets angry. He gets physically angry that she's flirting with someone who's not him. He's which is not a trait you want in a grown man. That's very like teenage boy. He says he walked over us with a strange aggressive gait. You let me know about tonight, Cinnamon, he said in an irritated tone, talking over Daniel. Come over to the practice around 5:00. Maybe we could do dinner first. I nodded and he walked away quickly, and I sensed a little angrily. Oh.
I've been pretending to eat your pie for 2 years.
Yeah. I have earned sex through uneaten pie. Come on.
I am a pro bono podiatrist. I need something from this town.
Oh. So I don't know. I mean, in a better book where there was, a mystery a murder that had to be solved, having characters get angry and stuff like that, or show her ill will is a good way to establish them as suspects. As we've covered, though, there is currently no mystery.
Right. But this is one of my favorite things. So they're having their little flirtatious. The meet cutes are stacking up here, but count this as another one. They're flirting over the counter, over the pie business and everything. And then a bunch of old ladies come in, an army of old ladies. And it's kind of like, well, you better get going. Yep, perils of the pie business. But then immediately an old woman walks in and says, Ma'am, I assume her voice is like this.
Yeah.
Ma'am, does this blueberry pie have nutmeg in it too, or just cinnamon? I'm going to go into every pie shop in the world that I ever enter, and I'm just going to immediately ask that.
Yeah.
And then have the pie person go, did you see cinnamon? What the hell are you talking about?
Yeah, unless they've actually stuck the cinnamon sticks out of it like a garnish. It's a bold assumption to make. Cinnamon blueberry isn't really a flavor profile you think of as a natural one, as a common one.
Right? Did she put it through a what do they call it? Chromatographer or whatever? The thing that detects what kind of phenols are in stuff. Like she already took a sample of it.
It doesn't have either one, you old bag. Oh, well, I never.
No.
I'll go to one of the other 3 pie shops in this town.
I will stride right past the podiatrist, who I have an appointment with later, might I say.
He's quite handsome.
Yes, I have bunions you have not yet seen.
Oh, but yeah. So the old bags come in and sort of start interrupting him, and so he decides to make himself scarce. He offers to take her to dinner or to go to drink, I guess. And she says, "It only took me 1.2 seconds to decide I was going to say yes to his offer." So in the annals of 372, we've always appreciated our needlessly specific instances.
Yes.
But for the most part, they're quite long. I thought about it for 3 minutes. This might be the shortest needlessly specific interval that we've ever had in the history of the podcast.
Did you clock 1.2 seconds?
No.
It might be slightly longer than we think. But yeah, it's not enough to recreate. But then the great thing is, so they're still doing their flirting, and then Margaret Dumont again over at the counter with her pignon. What do they call the glass? The lorgnette. The lorgnette that you hold the glasses up on the stick.
Like opera glasses, sure.
Opera glasses, yeah. She puts her lorgnette up to her face and goes, "Ma'am, Can you give me an answer?
She better be careful. If she says there's cinnamon nutmeg, that might be so surprising that her opera glasses will fall into the pie. That's
Right.
Wow.
What is hinging on this woman?
Tempting fate. I don't know. She's probably on a tour bus on the way to Reno or something with our other her other retiree ladies to play some slots, and got to bring a pie along on the bus.
Well, Mildred told me never to eat blueberry pie that has nutmeg in it. She said the combination can stop your heart. Like, what do you care? It's blueberry pie.
Right, yes. Oh, but that's it. That's the end of the 13 chapters. They've agreed to a date, and, there's still a dead body in the snow somewhere.
Yep, and still a dog just crapping himself to death slowly behind a pie shop. That's what we got the coziness for.
Oh, well, let's sentences of the week sent in by our loyal Patreon listeners. Again, that's patreon.com, so that's 372 pages. We're going to cover another, one-off cozy during this Christmas season, so tune on in over there and see what you can do. We got to give away our copies of Super Constitution, too.
Oh, yeah, I have that proudly sitting here. Yeah, and I think because it's the Cozyverse, probably on a Patreon, the extras will probably be a little more. There'll be a lot of them, I think.
Yeah. Good.
I think we like the Cozyverse.
Yes, definitely. And this is, this book has a lot of promise. I'm curious to see where it goes.
It really does.
Here's Hayden's. But she came into the pie shop, stomping her heels loudly against my tile floor, feeling like a gust of crazy south wind. And they point out that the sentence is written in the first-person perspective, describing someone else, which is a unique linguistic trick to try to pull off.
Mm-hmm.
We have Andrew, who said, a bitter winter's chill that had stayed with me for the past 2 years. And he just said, it's kind of weird to have a winter chill last past winter, to your previous point. She should really see a doctor probably at this point in time. Jackson submitted, fate's just something invented to make us feel better about the crazy things that happened in our lives. He said this pseudo-philosophical chestnut is among the irksomely popular highlights on the Kindle edition.
Wow. Is that, so that's the Matthew McConaughey guy, right?
It must be that he's showing up again.
Because it reminds me of The Bridges of Madison County.
Wow.
Which I reviewed years ago as a movie with Clint Eastwood. Has a lot of that kind of stuff where she's like, what do you think about your life? Like, I don't try to think about anything. I go where I go, like a leaf blown through. You'd be like, all right, get out of my house immediately.
It is very difficult to have a conversation with you, sir.
I was asking a small talk. Come on.
Every time I bring up the podcast, Lauren's mother suggests The British of Madison County as a book we should cover because she hates it so much.
Ooh, it's pretty bad.
Cynthia submitted, I caught my reflection in the glass pane of a window suddenly. She says, besides being a horribly forced opening to give us a description of the narrator, using suddenly as an afterthought is not how it works. I think makes me think Muldoon panicked because the sentence wasn't very exciting or melodramatic and added the suddenly to spice it up.
I like just calling her Muldoon.
Yeah, it's nice.
It's good. It's like your frat bro.
I think that's the name of
Damn it, Muldoon.
That might be the name of the guy in Jurassic Park who's like, shoot her.
Oh, yes.
Nick submitted, here's a dumb sentence that Muldoon thought was so good she used on page 3 and again on page 8. It says, the annual Christmas River Gingerbread Junction competition held the second week of December every year. Annually, once a year, every December, at 12 months intervals is their comment. Claire submitted, he sat there ordering slice after slice of pie that he didn't even like while I just took his money and made it seem like he had his chance with me. And she just breaks down the, no, he just ordered a slice of pie. You gave him a slice of pie. Transaction complete. Cinnamon is not, no matter what we might assume from a name like Cinnamon, an escort. So a financial exchange doesn't lead to evenings out with the doctor. Jenny submitted, but then a pickup truck pulled up. A boy got out and pulled his guitar from the flatbed, and he walked over and sat down and mesmerized everyone there with his playing and singing. And she said, and then after that run-on sentence ended, John Belushi smashed the guitar.
Okay, good.
Mike submitted, life was tumultuous and unpredictable and volatile. And he added, and chaotic and uncertain and erratic, unstable, and scrolling down on the online thesaurus page, you see that it's also arbitrary and random and inconsistent. Patricia pointed out this one that says, It was about the excuses her husband gave when he'd go on business trips for his job with the High Springs Lodge that lasted longer than he'd told me they would. She just pointed out he was a real dumbass. Why would he lie? If he's going to lie about his business trips, he could just lie about how long the trip was going to last. If he's extended, an affair onto the end of it.
Yes.
Balaji submitted, "Damn it," I shouted, wanting to say someone else. And he said, "Anybody who didn't automatically add boy after this line is lying."
Oh, nice. Yeah.
Heather submitted, "I went upstairs, changed, and came back downstairs ready to combat the field of snow that my driveway had turned into overnight." She said, "This thing is so amateurish and clunky and really shows how it doesn't really take much skill to write a cozy mystery. I know what she's saying, but there's no real art or style here." Let's see what else. Gordon submitted, "I recognize that bleach, curly, airhead, blonde hair anywhere. Odd insult coming from Kara." Edmund submitted, I think this is regarding the dog, "Looking the way I did about 2 years ago." He said, 2 years ago, your fur was matted and thick with snowflakes as you shivered and shook in the cutting Central Oregon Cascade Mountains kind of wind. Dean submitted, this is regarding the grandfather, Walter? "He was getting old, and that worried me." But Dean said, "She does know what the alternative to getting old is, doesn't it?"
It's Warren, not Walter.
Oh, Warren. Yeah, got it.
Yeah.
Josh submitted, "From the incredible aromas rising up from the frying pan, I knew what he was doing." And he said, "It's so unnecessarily coy unless he's melting down precious metals or some other nonsense. It's pretty obvious what he's up to. It's just an odd little hesitation before a boring reveal that he's making bacon." Shane submitted, I don't remember this one, but it was, "I'd always trusted him, since I was 16, I had."
Wow.
A weird lyric or something from Dr. Seuss.
That is amazing. I missed that one. That's great.
Yeah. And then Harrison submitted, "It left me with a strange feeling that followed me all the way out to the street. So it shook her to her very core because she thought of it for all of about 3 steps until she hit the street."
1.2 seconds.
Yes, probably. I had this one. I purposely didn't read it. But this is regarding, what is the woman, the husband stealer's name? Bianca or something? Bailey.
Yeah.
It was, "But there was no way in the roaring, fiery furnaces of hell that she was going to steal this gingerbread competition from me." It would be beyond parody if you had told us that was going to be coming in this book, but there it is.
Mine is a challenge as much as it is a dumb sentence. I'll read the prologue and then you'll understand. "Sit down, honey," Kara said, grabbing a kitchen stool and pulling it up for me. She had gone from infuriated to gentle in the span of a few seconds. So that's my challenge to everyone. See if you can do that.
Yeah.
"You son of a, I hope you... bleep, 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 bleep." Come on, honey, let's see.
Yeah, do the pass your hand over your face and go from frowning to happy type of thing.
Right, yes. Do the napkin in front to delight the little kid.
Wow. Well, I mean, there was also a ton that we already covered on the podcast, but thanks to everyone who submitted those, and we'll post the assignment in the description here. But it's the third of the book. Hopefully, we'll have some bodies and some suspects at least. But as I said to you, if the entire right now, there's a chance that the dead man gets bleary on it in this book, and that would be a first, is having a corpse get forgotten in the book that it started off. But we'll see.
Look, if that happens, I would even take it as a win that I did so poorly at Fanfic today. Mm-hmm. I would still be happy walking away from this thing.
You're right.
It never feels good to bat like I did today. I'm going to take the L, but I'm just saying, if the murder victim is bleary-oned, I win. I'm just going to put it that way.
If there's a different murder or something related to the gingerbread house.
That would be fantastic.
Yeah. All right, everybody. Thank you, Patreon. Thank you for everyone else reading along. Hope you all stay cozy. I hope that we can ratchet up the coziness as much as I hope this book is able to.
Thick blanket of snow, everyone.